and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on our YouTube channel, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I am, of course, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, and streaming, and all sorts of good stuff. And it is a full house today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined by one Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Of course, right beside him in the world's best Christmas sweater, we got Chris Carr. Yeah. Sitting back there, Ray Orr is joining us. Lurking in the background is Taylor. Right in front of him is, of course, producer Jonathan running the show. And we're joined, returning from Vancouver and all of her shooting and filming, Erin Cummings with Joey Bishop. With
giving Chris Carr a run for her money on
a great Christmas sweater. And, of course, most importantly, guys, you are here. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it down into two parts. First part of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. Here's how you get a live comment or question addressed on the show. Number one, you got to be watching live. Number two, when we get to the end of the main topics, we'll announce that we're opening up the super chats. We only leave them open for a couple of moments, so you'll have just a couple of minutes to send in your thoughts, theories, or questions, and we will address those in the second half of the show. All right, guys. There's a whole hell of a lot of stuff going on. Oh, I guess I should let you guys know that a little bit later today, because Rob was out and ill on Monday, so we didn't have a Weekly Hero. Weekly Hero is going to be today on a special Wednesday, today at about 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. New York time. Make sure you come back and join Chris Carr and Robert Meyer Burnett for the newest issue of the Weekly Hero. All right, guys. With that down, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's dive right into it. And you know, this is the day of the year. This is it. As far as if you're into entertainment, whatever, the day that they announce the People's Choice Awards is obviously the most single important day of the year. That is when we find out what the people voted for. Now look, all kidding aside, viewer-based voting award shows are, as my father would always say, as useless as tits on a bull. There is absolutely no purpose or function for them. I don't give a shit about any award show that lets people who saw 3 movies this year vote on what was the best movie of the year. It's completely pointless. However, that being said, we should look at who the big winners are. And listen, if I were to ask you, what do you think was anointed as best movie of the year for 2022? Do you think maybe it was The Fabelmans? Wasn't. Think maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once? Nope. Maybe want to get into some genre? Maybe The Batman? No. Well, then it's got to be Top Gun Maverick, right? No. No, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you, as proclaimed by the People's Choice Awards, the best movie of 2022 was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was proclaimed the best movie of the year. That's right. Congratulations.
I am not joking here.
To everybody involved with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness winning Best Picture of the Year. It won over fellow nominees. Where were the other nominees? There they are. It won over fellow nominees Bullet Train, Elvis, Jurassic World Dominion, Nope, The Batman, Top Gun Maverick, and Thor Love and Thunder were your nominees for Best Picture of the Year. Best Comedy of the Year went to The Adam Project. So, congratulations to Ryan Reynolds and all the folks over at Mint Mobile for winning Comedy of the Year. It won over Fire Island, Hustle, Hocus Pocus 2, Marry Me. I can't believe it got nominated for anything. Senior Year, The Lost City, and Ticket to Paradise. Then they had a category called Best Action Film of the Year.
Oh, there it is.
Which went to Top Gun Maverick, ladies and gentlemen. Top Gun Maverick won Best Action Film of the Year, winning over things like Thor, Love and Thunder and things like that. Best Drama Movie of the Year was Don't Worry, Darling.
Over Halloween Ends?
Sorry.
How is that possible?
Over anything? And of course, then the other two big ones, Male Movie Star of the Year, Chris Hemsworth for Thor, Love and Thunder, ladies and gentlemen, takes home Best Male Movie Star of the Year. And Best Female Movie Star of the Year, making a big double up for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Elizabeth Olsen wins for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Big winning night for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Look, I'll say this. Well, this is yet, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I present Exhibit E25 on the growing list of why viewer-voted award shows are totally pointless. What I will say is this. You know, Chris, you often make the point when we talk about movies like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which, by the way, I liked. I had issues with it, but I like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Or Thor Love and Thunder, which I liked, but I mean, it's skewed way too silly, has a lot of issues with it.
Yeah.
You often bring up that, in our geek circles, these are two movies that got maligned a lot, talked about, but you always bring up the reality is a lot of the average moviegoers went to go see it.
They loved them.
They loved them.
They really did.
They love them movies. And so, guys, it ain't everything everywhere all at once. It's Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. Your best movie star of the year, Chris Hemsworth for Thor, Love and Thunder. Absolutely fabulous results here. Anyway, Rob, in all seriousness, while these things are useless, seeing movies like Doctor Strange take home Best Picture of the Year and stuff like that, what is that? What do you take away from this?
Well, I think, like you just said, and what we all say, that it's an indicator of the fact that we're the ones that are in the bubble. You know, we, the movie pundits, are talking about these things when, for most people, movies are diversion. They're not something people spend much time thinking about. And if somebody makes a movie that makes you go, wow, that was fun, you know.
Which is what movies should do.
Absolutely, in one ear and out the other. The thing is, you know, we bring with us an appreciation of art, and it's not just the stories that are being told, but it's the artistic way in which they're being told. That's what resonates with us. And when you see a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once, unfortunately, while it was A24's biggest hit, I don't think a lot of people that were voting on this had seen Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I don't think, I bet, I'm willing, there's no scientific study here to back this up, but I'm just saying, I bet the number of films, the average number of films saw this year by people who voted was probably 5.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. But I mean, I will say this, aside from Multiverse of Madness, I can't really argue with a lot of these awards, you know, because you think about people. If I were to ask my mom,
so you're good with Love and Thunder being nominated for Best Picture?
Well, but it's because by going by your metric, that's one of the 5 movies. If you go to Doctor Strange, you're going to go to those 5 movies. I mean, it's a total populist list. That's all it is. And what I think that we can take away from it is that there is information to be gleaned from that list. And I think Hollywood's like, okay, we have to remember we can't not make these movies. We have to make some of these movies, or actually a lot of these movies, because these are the movies people are going to. We can't forget about that.
But they go to see their excellent ones too.
They do.
And their excellent ones make more money.
They do. But I mean, you can't argue with the fact that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is the second highest grossing movie of the year after Maverick.
Might be second or third. It's up there. It's right
so
up there.
So that, you know, money.
Chris, you know, we often will hear people say, and again, I liked Thor Love and Thunder, but I certainly had issues with it. But you'll hear a lot of people in our show say, nobody liked Thor Love and Thunder. Well,
so many people did.
Clearly.
I'm not one of them, but so many people did.
What do you take away from these awards?
I mean, well, first of all, it's no Kids' Choice Award, is it? I mean, that's where the prestige lies. But I think it goes back to how subjective things are, right? And I also think that the People's Choice Awards and all these are usually more about getting viewers for the actual show than doing anything else, right?
Absolutely.
Because when we do the Oscars, I mean, as much as that is a Super Bowl for all of us here, you know, a lot of your average movie-going audience hasn't seen every prestige film, hasn't gone to see all these indie house things. They haven't seen the foreign films and the shorts and the documentaries. And a lot of times, viewership suffers because of that. That's why they usually try to pull you in with a host, or they have celebrities doing the announcements for things. They try to gimmick you in to celebrate the excellence of film for those who have not seen it and don't want to give it the time of day. So they're very, very different award shows happening here. There's merit to both of them. I mean, I'm honestly, and you guys know that I was like, Top Gun is a good movie. It wasn't the one that I thought was the greatest movie of the year, but it's a good movie. I'm so surprised that's not what took the cake.
That was my
Me
guess.
too.
That seems like universally everyone is just on board with that being great cinema. So that's
Frankly,
the thing
it
that's
should
really
have been the
scratching my head.
Batman.
It should have been the
Yeah,
Batman.
well, yes.
Where was your
absolutely.
campaign?
And where's Mary? By the way, just as a side note on the TV side of things, best comedy show of the year, Never Have I Ever. That's actually a really good
That's
little
a
show. To be honest
fantastic
with you.
show.
Best drama show of the year went to Grey's Anatomy. And best overall show of 2022 went to Stranger Things, just beating out Obi-Wan.
Wow.
Yeah, any of this standing out to you, Aaron? As like,
Well,
either on
yeah,
the
I mean,
TV or
actually,
movie
the
side?
thing that is standing out to me is sort of like the timeliness of everything. I mean, if we're when I look at the best drama category, for example, it begs the question: would Don't Worry, Darling have won if it wasn't so well known because of all the drama surrounding the movie making process itself? You know, the drama with the director and the actresses. That's what I wonder. And with Chris Hemsworth winning Best Actor, not to say that he doesn't deserve it at all. I think he's wonderful and highly entertaining. But he has been very much on the brain lately because of his show right now that's out, Limitless, and because of the, recent news surrounding that. And so we know that in our TikTok society, people have a very short attention span. So it also begs the question of, since this is the general public that is voting, are they voting on the thing that actually is in their opinion, the best, or just the most recent in their memory, or the one that sticks out? I'm assuming most people have not seen Where the Crawdads Sing. So, just a hunch.
You would be correct.
I
Yeah.
did.
But
saw it.
but do you know what I mean? Like, Don't Worry, Darling, I promise you, a lot of people that voted for that movie did not see it. But they know, I heard of that. I know that movie.
I would say this, though. Don't Worry, Darling did drop on HBO Max recently. This, to me, if you look at these awards, I think it's the Housewife Awards. It's women with kids, and
Or
they're
House Husband Awards, being that
Award.
my husband was at home.
But
taking care of
Don't
our-
Worry, Darling won because of Harry Styles. And I think if you look at the picks, I think that they're
Or
more
because it
skewed.
just recently dropped on HBO, so it's fresh in everybody's mind.
And Harry Styles.
And again, these are being voted on by people who saw maybe 5 things this year.
Right,
So-
but it sounds to me it's
Probably three.
you could say house husbands too, but I think it's you got families with kids. If you look at this, it's parents who are taking their children to the movies, and that's the movies they saw, or they're at home watching stuff that's family friendly.
I don't think they took a lot of kids to go see Don't Worry, Darling.
No, but that's what they
That's
saw on
okay.
HBO.
They're waiting till the kids
Trying
go
to
to
sit
bed.
there and
and then,
I'm telling you, that's what teenage girls watched.
All right,
I'm telling you.
with that down, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you give any merit? I have no idea why you would, but do you give any merit to these viewer-voted awards? If so, you must be loving the fact that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was proclaimed best film of the year. In all honesty, guys, what do you guys think about this? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's get on over and get to our Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. If you guys have a question you'd like us to address on the show and you'd like to hear the sultry sounds of your voice on our show as well, just go ahead and call our hotline anytime at 951-268-4259 and leave your voice message. Now, today's hotline, they did write to me and let me know they were calling from work, which is a heavy industrial place.
In Antarctica.
Did the best job we could to clean up the audio because
Wow.
there was
Oh,
it was sounded like they work in an airfield. But anyway, here's our Mint Mobile hotline question today.
Hey, Johnny, so how you doing? Hey, I was just wondering, with that Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, looks pretty emotional. I was wondering if you can go around and see which character do you think will make it out of this movie? Or should I say which character won't make it out of this movie? Thanks.
All right, thanks for calling that in. And again, you should have heard this before we did some audio treatment on it. It was like, woo, we did the best we could. Anyway, yeah, no, I wasn't here. I was in Vegas when you guys talked about the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer dropping. And there's a pattern has emerged over the last number of years. First trailer is just really a taste. It's really more of an announcement. Hey, this movie's coming. Show you some flashy images, no context, no whatever, just a little bit. And then as you get into the further trailers, they start to round out telling you what the story is. So this trailer was certainly that, but you're not wrong. Like this trailer, from the music choice, there was a lot of emotion in this. Like, what was that muskrat? Was it muskrat or a ferret or I don't know what that thing was. That
Do you mean when it's Baby Rocket before he's transformed, or do you
But
mean
no,
it's his
Rocket
love,
was hugging-
Lake?
yeah.
Is it
Layla. It's Layla. It's his girlfriend.
Oh, I don't have any
that was
awareness.
an otter.
Tune into Weekly Hero.
It's an otter.
Yeah.
Okay, see, there you go. Whether it's the damn otter getting hugged or, listen, we all cried when a tree died in the first one. So this was filled with a lot of emotion. And there's a couple things that we already know about this movie that James Gunn has let us know about. This is the last film for this crew. Now, there may be one or two, maybe even 3 or 4 of this crew that go on to continue to be in the MCU as a whole. But they're saying as far as the Guardians of the Galaxy goes, this is the last time you're going to see this collection of characters as the Guardians of the Galaxy. So maybe 1 or 2 will stick around and there'll be other crew. Maybe some of them will go off on other adventures. Maybe some of them die. So if we got to go on the whole idea about who's going to die in Guardians of the Galaxy, then we got to start looking at some characters. Actually, you know what? Don't bring it up yet because I wasn't planning on this, but let's go over to the Campea classroom here in just a second. Okay, yeah, let's go over to the Campea classroom here. Guardians, who dies? That's a terrible typing, but whatever. Guardians, who dies? Okay, I'm going to say my guess, the most likely to die is Drax. Drax, Dave Bautista, he's had some very, very public negative things to say about Disney going back to when they fired James Gunn. Right. And he said certain number of times he's done with them. Now, you could make the argument in the meantime, he's done commercials for Disney Plus. He's obviously in the holiday special, but still, I have a feeling this is going to be the last that we see of Drax. So I'm going to say the number one biggest possibility of people we see dying here is Drax. I think the next one is Peter. I honestly think Chris Pratt, he's done a bunch of movies for the MCU now, probably ready to move on. I don't see Star-Lord as a mainstay character in the MCU apart from the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think the second most likely to die is Peter. Gamora again. I think we see Gamora die again because with recent comments from Zoe Saldana, by the way, her recent comments do not necessarily mean she's leaving. Not at all. But I'm saying when you add all the other stuff up with her recent comments about feeling stuck in these franchise films, I think there's a good possibility of that. I think next up, you're looking at Rocket. I mean, Ray, actually, we were doing some discussion in the studio the other day, and Ray brought up a really good point off camera. Rocket is their most expensive performer. I mean, that's a lot of CGI for a main character that has tons of dialogue, lots of screen time, all that kind of stuff. When you get down further to the bottom, I think you're talking about people that are probably are going to stay around. Nebula, I think, is going to stay around. Mantis. I think the holiday special has made a star out of Palm Clementif and Mantis. I think we are going to see Mantis around in the MCU. Again, no insider information of that. Then as far as Groot, I think Groot is just a character you can always have around and use in different ways. And they did make a point in that one Avengers movie that Groot, there is a language of Groot that other people in the universe can know. Thor knows how to speak Groot. There might be others. So you can have that character around, even if it's without Rocket, and have him talking around. So, I mean, yeah, there's a whole bit. Oh, and what's James Gunn's brother's character's name again? The one who's got Yondu's arrow now. I keep her Kraglin? Is it Kraglin?
Let me look it up.
Let me just say
It's
Crag.
something like that.
I'll go Crag for argument's sake.
Kraglin.
It is Kraglin. Okay. I think Kraglin, I think he's going to be around.
Kraglin Rosie.
I think Kraglin's, even though his brother's moving over to ZC, which probably means I think Sean Gunn, is that his name?
Yeah.
I think Sean will probably be moving over there too, but I don't think Kraglin's going to die. So there's who I got. Chris, let's go over to you for a second here. I think we all agree that at least one major Guardians of the Galaxy character is dying in this movie. In order of most likely, who would you say are the top 2 or 3 most likely that'll get knocked off here?
Ray's going to stop being my friend. I think it's going to be Rocket, and I'm really sad about it, but
Well, he said it
that's
himself.
why they're going to do it. That's why they're going to do it. Is because, we're learning so much about his origin in this story. We're seeing him reunite with Layla. We've got the High Evolutionary in there, so we're going to learn about his origins and how he came to exist and everything. And oftentimes, he's been the heart of this film franchise. He gives us those real tearjerker moments. He had that whole beautiful thing where he wasn't asked to be born or created or made like this, that I was sobbing in a movie movie theater over a raccoon. I mean, that's ridiculous. But I think it's most likely him, followed by Drax because of the things Bautista has said. Chris Pratt has said time and time again how much he wants to continue playing Peter Quill. So I really think they're going to keep him around to some extent.
I mean, he's got the biggest name star power there.
Yeah.
He's also super tight with James Gunn. So that's another one where, well, actually, you know what? To be fair, every cast member of this
They all love him.
series love James Gunn. So they probably all would follow him over to DC if they wanted him to, but that's
You
possible.
could have the best of both worlds. This can be a Hannah Montana situation.
He could. Rob, who would you say are the top 2 or 3 most likely to get knocked off here?
Well, I think like you, Drax is number one because obviously he's been on a path of vengeance this whole time to avenge his family, and I think that he will finally achieve whatever it is he needs to achieve. I think that Rocket will not die, and they're going to give Rocket a happy ending. I think that
Of course, Aaron giggles.
I think Rocket is going to
The otter's there for something.
because
so.
because there's a thing about family that's run through. I mean, Peter Quill lost his mother, at the beginning of Guardians.
Lost his father.
Lost his father.
And his surrogate father.
Yes. So the Guardians have been his family, but not really. And he's going to sacrifice, I think, everything for them. So I think Drax is going to definitely die. I think that Nebula and Gamora are also going to, they had some reconciliation, but Gamora that is going to exist in this movie does not know the Nebula that's in this movie yet. And I think they too, like Rocket, are going to have, they're going to leave this franchise with the family, 2 sisters that truly find one another. And then I think everybody else, I think Drax and Quill are going to be the only people that die.
There's one character we're not brought up, which has just been introduced. I mean, really, truly introduced, and that's Cosmo. Because listen,
Cosmo's not dying.
If they kill that dog, I will lose my mind.
Hey, if John Wick has taught us anything, if you want to punch the audience in the gut and get the tears flowing, kill the dog.
Oh, God.
No.
And I'm just saying.
I just think
Cosmo. What's that?
I just think all this is a misdirect. Honestly, I don't think you're probably going to lose maybe Drax, and that's it. That's my call.
I mean, it could very well just be one character. I think they kill Cosmo.
No. Cosmo's got to run security for nowhere.
Did we see Cosmo in the trailer?
Nobody's on the poster.
I think Cosmo dies.
But all of his puppies.
yeah. So I don't know.
He's a father, John. Why do you want this?
What about the rest of you guys? Any one name stand out to you the most?
Gamora.
You think Gamora
Drax.
goes?
Yeah, I think that her recent comments were like a little bit of an Easter egg, sort of foreshadowing, letting people know and kind of gauging the audience. Okay, Joey is just hacking something.
She's really upset about the dog dying suggestion.
Yeah, speaking of dog dying, just kidding. She's not dying. I think it's Gamora. Yeah, and also I think that it kind of plays into the whole love story aspect of the will they, won't they, and her dying, and I just don't think that she wants to continue here. 100% no way is it Star-Lord. Not going to happen.
All right.
And there's one other thing. I just want to say that I don't think Gamora or Nebula die because they need them both around when Thanos comes back for Secret Wars.
Yeah, they've played that angle though already, haven't they?
I don't know.
Haven't they played that angle to death? I'm not saying
they
Thanos,
need-
but I mean the Thanos and the daughter thing. Haven't they
But
played
if
that
they
out?
go the Hickman route and do that Secret Wars, which would be great, I'd love to see that. I think they're going to need them.
All right, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this when you look down the roster of the Guardians of the Galaxy? I think we all agree at least one major character is dying. Do you think it's going to be Drax, Rocket, Gamora, Peter, Cosmo? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, we're just going to take a second here and thank one of the sponsors of our show. If you're going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy, you got to be at your best, fresh, clean, smoothly shaven, even in the nether regions. That's why you need our friends at Manscaped. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Manscaped. This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends over at Manscaped. Everyone loves turkey and stuffing, but you'll be looking like dessert with the help of Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have blessed you with the ultimate Thanksgiving dinner topic. Tell your in-laws about your new cutting-edge ball trimmer and gift yourself or the man in your life the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Trim up your pumpkins by going to manscaped.com and use the code CAMPEA for free shipping and 20% 20% off. And this year I am so thankful for Manscaped because like most of you guys, I used to use Neanderthalic Dark Age methods to trim my balls. Not anymore, thanks to Manscaped. It's time for all of us to give thanks to Manscaped Performance Package 4.0, or as I like to call it, the perfect package for your package. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all your goodies. The heart of the package, their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code Campea at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the promo code Campea. Be thankful this holiday season for the best gift of all from Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
And thank you to our friends at Manscaped for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into some stuff here. But before we do, I want to let you guys know about something. You guys know that just the other day, we launched what is now our annual Adopt a Family campaign. We put together a big Amazon wish list with well over 100 items, including some Nintendo Switches, some tablets, $100 grocery cards, Amazon gift cards. You guys got it all. You bought it out. You got everything we needed. Everything was needed. So a lot of you guys told us to open up a GoFundMe. So we did. We opened up a GoFundMe. We officially announced it yesterday. We've already almost got $3,000 in the GoFundMe that we're going to give to this family. Again, a little bit of a highlight. It's a married couple. They have 6 children, aging between the ages of 8 and 18. And during the pandemic, they both lost their jobs. As a result of losing their jobs, they lost their home. They've been living in from hotel to hotel, and they both got jobs again, but it is hard to climb out of that and to get ever. So you guys are delivering to them an amazing Christmas. So we're going to be delivering all the stuff from the Amazon wish list, plus everything that came in on the GoFundMe. Plus, we are going to add another $5,000 on top of that. So whatever you guys have to the end of the day, because it's time for us to start wrapping the gifts and get ready to deliver it. You guys have to the end of the day to jump into that GoFundMe campaign and contribute to it. Every dollar you put in there is going to this family. So make sure, jump in there. The link to it is in the description, right, Ray?
Yes.
The link to it is in the description of this video. Go on and support that. And thank you to everybody who already contributed so generously. You guys bought out everything. It's absolutely incredible. And we will keep you updated as to when we do the delivery and everything.
John, I'm just going to step in here for just one moment because I do think it's important also to acknowledge that this is not a new thing. This is something that you started out of the kindness of your heart and with an understanding of the fact that there are other people out there in the world who are suffering at this time of the year, especially, and want to be able to give their kids a Merry Christmas. And I want to say that, everybody has goodness in their heart, I truly believe, but we don't necessarily always know the way to share it. And for you to act as a conduit of good for this, to use this show, your platform as a conduit of good is a wonderful thing. And it's an encouragement to everybody of how they can be their own conduit of good and give others the opportunity to share. So I want to just acknowledge you and thank you for continuing to do this. As the success of the show continues to grow, you continue to become more generous by offering other people the opportunity to be generous as well. So thanks for continuing to do this for these families.
Oh, well, thank you. And by the way, guys, even if you don't participate in this one, your local municipality probably has a local Adopt a Family program. It's something Ann and I have been involved in for 10 years. Just maybe might be a little bit late this year, but check your local municipality. If not now, next year as well. Maybe you and a couple of friends. It doesn't have to be as elaborate as what we're doing here at the show. Believe me, if you can bring like 4 or 5 gifts to a family on a year, you won't believe the difference that it makes. So please get involved with that with yourself, maybe get some friends together and do it. And thank you again to everybody who contributed to our project this year. It's going to be wonderful. All right. With that down, guys, it is Wednesday, which means it's time for us to kind of look at all the things that are coming out on streaming this week, the significant things coming out on streaming this week, and what's streaming next. So let's go on over and take a look at some of the things that are streaming this week. Starting today, December 7th on Hulu is the new film Connect, a South Korean service series. Oh, sorry, it's not a movie, it's a series. I'm not going to try to read the names because I'll get it wrong. But a man is kidnapped
and has one of his eyes removed by a gang of
get
organ
out of here.
hunters.
Yes.
So this movie is
No.
made for
Eye
Chris
violence.
Carr.
Game day.
Taylor, how dare you?
And-
how dare you do this?
And
His
he walked
eye
very
was
slowly,
transplanted.
methodically.
His eye was transplanted into the body of a serial killer. The unwilling donor now has terrible visions as he witnesses terrifying attacks on the residents of Seoul, South Korea. I think this, eye violence aside, this sounds awesome.
The Koreans do horror.
Yes,
that is
and
the
do it very well.
There is no Korean zombie movie that I will not see immediately. Like, I don't know what it is, but kudos to Korean filmmakers because they have got the lock on the horror and the zombie movies.
You know, this is
it.
a remake of David Duchovny's Return to Me. That's what it sounds like for those who know that movie. A little bit of a remake of that. All right. Also opening today, I have no idea why Taylor put this on the list,
Too Hot
but here
to
it is.
Handle.
Too Hot to Handle, season 4,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
I'll tell you
Game
why.
day.
I did one for Chris, and then this one's for Rob.
Taylor, of course, puts So for Rob, coming out on Netflix is Too Hot to Handle. I've never heard of this show.
Oh, I've seen it. It's amazing. They bring together all these like nymphomaniacs and they think that they're there essentially for like a fuckathon. And then they get there and they realize the only way to win the money is that they cannot have
They have to
sex.
stay celibate.
And little things along the way, like they're in teams initially, and any little like sexual act will reduce the amount of money that their team can win. So like if somebody gives a handy to somebody, it's like, well, crap, you had to give that guy a hand job. Now we all lost $20,000.
By the
This is
way,
not for me.
By the way, just so
They can't
just so
keep their
you
pants
know,
on.
Aaron pointed it out, is that Fuckathon is the name of our next charity drive
Yes,
coming up in February.
I will be
Congratulations.
chairperson of that committee.
So here it is. On the shores of paradise, gorgeous singles meet and mingle, but there's a twist. To win $100,000 grand prize, you have to give up sex. So there you go.
I'm sure none of those people have inflated egos.
None. All right. Opening tomorrow, December 8th, the 4th season of one of my favorite shows on TV, Doom Patrol, returns. If you guys have not checked out Doom Patrol, I highly recommend go back to season 1. They're not long seasons. Go through them. You will find you're binging them like crazy. I love this series. Season 4 returns
Brendan
tomorrow.
Fraser.
Yep, on HBO Max. Then also coming out tomorrow, Southside Season 3 is also coming out on HBO Max. A pair of recent community college graduates look to become entrepreneurs in Chicago's South Side. That's the 3rd season. Then on Friday, now getting some pretty mixed reviews.
Yeah.
But the one we've been looking forward to a lot here is Will Smith's Emancipation, comes out on Apple TV. A runaway slave forges through the swamps of Louisiana on a torturous journey to escape plantation owners that nearly killed him, starring Will Smith and one of my favorite actors in the world, Ben Foster. So, I mean, I don't care what the reviews are saying. Plus, you got Antoine Fuqua directed this.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Antoine Fuqua. So this comes out on Friday. Also coming out on Friday, which I admit I am even more. There is actually best picture buzz surrounding this movie. Guillermo del Toro's, not to be confused with Tom Hanks's, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio comes out on Netflix on Friday. They've done some small theatrical screenings. The words coming out about it are literally, this could become the 4th film in history, 4th animated film to get a nomination for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. A father's wish magically brings a wooden boy to life in Italy, giving him a chance to care for the child, starring Ewan McGregor, Cate Blanchett, and Ron Perlman. All right, also coming out on Friday, and listen, I'm not much for these types of ones, but I might watch this one. Idina Menzel or Adele Dazeem, Which Way to the Stage? Idina Menzel's push to realize a lifelong dream, headlining a concert at Madison Square Garden in her hometown of New York City. For those of you who don't know, maybe you don't recognize the name, she's the powerhouse singer in the Frozen movies. I mean, that's really all I got to know. She's done a hell of a lot more than that, but that's what you might recognize her from. Also coming out on Friday, The Binge 2. It's a Wonderful Binge from Hulu. I must confess, I have never heard of The Binge 1, so I don't know anything about this. This year, The Binge happens miraculously on Christmas, unleashing a new holiday adventure featuring magical storybooks, catchy songs, and more, starring Danny Trejo. I'll watch anything with him. Paul Scheer, I also really like him. Nick Swartzen, God, I like him too. And Caitlin Olsen, and that is on Hulu. And of course, then comes out Something from Tiffany's. It follows
If that
a
ain't
woman.
Hallmark. Come
It's
on.
the Hallmark
It's
one
Prime,
coming
baby.
out on Prime Video. follows a woman as her life gets upended when an engagement ring that was for someone else leads her to the person she's meant to be with. So basically, it's about this horrible jerk who goes to break up somebody else's relationship.
She steals someone's engagement ring. She's like, this is a nice
In the
ring.
trailer,
They must
their
be rich.
gifts get swapped at Tiffany's. So he's supposed to be giving her earrings, but instead he gives her an engagement ring and is like, "Ugh!" And shenanigans ensue.
Have you ever seen the Family Guy episode where blah, 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 it's as predictable as one of those Hallmark romance movies. And then it shows the TV screen and it's got a woman going, I'm terribly busy doing business. I'm very, very business oriented as a businesswoman. And then a man comes in a suit and says, there's no problem you have that I can't solve with my penis. And it's just like the standard average Hallmark romance movie.
Okay, I will
There it
say
is.
when I was in Vancouver this past week, which is the place where all the Hallmark films are shot, I randomly, through a long story, ended up at a dinner with like 10 Hallmark actors. And when I tell you, they are the nicest people on the planet. I was like, I feel like I'm in a Hallmark movie. It was, so you know what?
Because those people never leave. They are in a Hallmark movie.
It was really sweet, really sweet.
All right, let me ask Chris, let me start with you.
Mm-hmm.
What on this list? There's a couple of bangers on here, actually. What on this, not
banger
not
stat.
Sex Island, not Fuckathon. I didn't mean
That one
bangers.
is a banger.
But which on here is standing out to you the most?
Pinocchio. I'm so excited about Pinocchio. I love everything Guillermo del Toro does. I love stop motion animation. That is going to be, I'm pretty sure, just like a home run for me. I'm very excited. And I will never, ever watch that eye show. It's
Game
like
day.
they took that great John Mulaney bit, that really fun, like fake rom-com he came up with of Jerry Orbach's eyes, and made that instead. Make Jerry Orbach's eyes. That one would be so much funnier.
Rob, which one stands out to you the most?
I got to go with Pinocchio, but also the Korean serial killer
Connect.
eye swap movie or series. 'Cause
Series.
who doesn't like you said, Korean horror? I've been a fan of Korean horror now for 20 years, and they usually do things right.
I told you, it's a spiritual sequel to Return to Me. Aaron, which one of these things are you going to try to get to first?
I think it's Pinocchio for the win. I mean, but I gotta have my tissues ready because it's gonna be a big tearjerker. But I mean, Guillermo del Toro, you can never go wrong with him. The guy's a hit maker.
Ray, if you got to pick one of these shows or movies to watch tomorrow to try to stay awake to, which one's it going to be?
On your services,
On my side.
Pinocchio for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much Pinocchio, but I got to say, shortly after that, I'm going to watch Emancipation. I mean, because like I know it's getting mixed reviews right now, but this has been Will Smith's a tremendous actor.
Mm-hmm.
Ben is, I think, one of the most underrated actors in the world. You got Antoine Fuqua directing. But yeah, Pinocchio's got to take it.
And Bobby
Aaron-
Richardson shot Emancipation, and he's one of my favorite working DPs. So I'll
Aaron
watch
Wick in the chat also said you better have your tissues ready for Too Hot to Handle as well.
Yeah, I thought that's where we were going.
Well done. Well done.
All right, guys, question is for you. What of all the things coming up next on streaming are you looking forward to the most? I'm sure a lot of you it's Pinocchio. Maybe some of you it's maybe Connect does sound pretty cool to me. I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here in the show? Well, that's simple. You guys come up with our main topics. This is where we need you, because whenever you guys come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Aaron, what is our first main topic today?
Martin says, greetings and salutations. It's funny that I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about Wednesday on Netflix, but I just read that the show is now officially the third most viewed show in the history of Netflix after just 2 weeks. These numbers seem kind of crazy. Do you think that this all but ensures a second season gets made? Thanks.
All right, Martin, thanks a lot for sending that in. And we've been hearing a lot of big numbers for shows lately come out, particularly for ones that, like I remember when the numbers for Hocus Pocus 2 came out, and I was like, what the F? Seriously? Hocus Pocus 2? But that apparently got some stupidly big numbers. You may not have been hearing a lot of people talk about Wednesday. I have. I've heard a lot of chatter and things like a lot of big headline stories about the story behind Jenna Ortega's Wednesday dance in this. Like that's been all over the place too. And guess what? Not surprisingly, It's massive. It is now the third, not all time overall, but the third biggest, most watched English language series on Netflix ever. This comes from the folks over at Variety who wrote the following. With a total of 752.5 hours viewed, that probably should read a million hours viewed since it's premiered on November 23rd. The series is already the number 3 most watched English language TV title in Netflix history. Netflix calculates this list based on a project's performance during its first 28 days of availability, meaning that Wednesday still has 2 more weeks to continue climbing the rankings. For comparison, the number 1 position belongs to Stranger Things Season 4 with 1.35 billion hours viewed in its first 28 days, and Monster Dahmer, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, following with 856.2 million. A closer look reveals that Wednesday may well be on track to surpass both of them. Now, normally I would say that, especially with Netflix and their binging model, viewership drops fairly quickly. So normally I would say it's certainly not going to catch Stranger Things. Certainly not. Dahmer probably will catch Dahmer to become the number 2 series of all time. But with Wednesday, I'm finding a lot of people are just picking up on it. And so that's why I think it will pass Dahmer fairly easy. I don't think it'll get to Stranger Things. Now, I've only seen about an episode and a half of this as I watched it over Anne's shoulder. She watched. I know Anne loves the thing. And I got to tell you, look, immediately, Jenna Ortega, this girl's a star. Mm-hmm. This girl's a straight up star. And like her portrayal as Wednesday is perfect. I mean, I saw a lot of people going, look, if she can just get close to Christina Ricci's performance, I think she surpassed Christina Ricci in this, and all due respect, but I think she surpassed Christina Ricci. And then I can't believe this is the little girl during the porn scene in the barn in X. I mean, what the, it's just wrong.
It's acting, good man.
It's acting, thespianism. Anyway, Rob, you have seen Wednesday.
I did.
You've seen the show. Do these numbers surprise you?
No. This was not something I was, Tim Burton's involvement. This is so fun. This show is just fun. And it's anchored by a star-making performance. By the way, not just, it's the dialogue. She's the writing as well. Very, very funny writing coming out of her mouth. And she's playing it pitch perfect. And I have to say, the supporting cast, Gwendolyn Christie is great.
She's so good.
Everybody is really great in the show. And, it's the kind of thing where I'm attracted to genre material in general, but this is not necessarily in my wheelhouse. It took about 5 minutes before I was captivated. Like I was in. This is just a wildly entertaining show.
You know what Anne called it? When I asked her, I said, how would you describe it? She said, she thought for a second, she said, it's really heightened CW. She goes, think a CW, but really heightened. I think, okay, that's
it also, though, reminded me of kind of the sensibility of a good indie comic book. Like Emily the Strange or something. That's where I was enjoying it from that perspective, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I have some problems with the last episode. I'm not gonna lie, but they didn't. That it's more of a storytelling thing than anything else. But the show is, I thought, delightful, and it's so easy to watch. Before you know it, it's like, wait, I'll have another one. It's pretty addictive.
Chris, you had a chance to watch Wednesday. Are you surprised by these numbers? Do you think it deserves the success it's having? What do you think?
It absolutely deserves the success. I'm rewatching it right now. I love this series. Jenna Ortega does such a good job in this show. She doesn't blink.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
And then I had to go back and I was like, oh my.
It's so fun to watch the second time. Oh God, she doesn't. Because she did one
blink.
take where she didn't blink in something, and Tim Burton just looked at her and said, yeah, that. We're not blinking anymore. We're doing that the rest of the time.
I'm sure she loved it.
Oh, yeah. She was talking about how just in between takes, she'd just be like, tearing up and everything.
There's an actor. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no worries. But so I think this is really, really well done. It does a really great job paying homage to the Addams Family, whether you watched it, the original television series, the animated series, the Addams Family Values, kind of 90s movies with Ricci. It really plays to multiple audiences. So I understand that it does have that kind of CW feel to it because it is like murder mystery in a high school. But it really plays to all audiences, too, who have any sort of nostalgia for this property and makes it a really compelling story moving forward, too. You're not just banking on it having Addams Family content. It's really quality.
And there's a lot of there's really good humor in it.
Yeah.
Like I laughed a lot. I don't know why, but this Pilgrim lady goes, I just moved here from Scottsdale. It was a stupid throwaway line. I don't know why I laughed out loud at that. My dogs were like freaking out, like you haven't made a sound in hours. And I laughed at that. It's funny.
Aaron, did you and Tom, like you guys have been traveling, so I don't know, have you had a chance to watch any
I
of
have
this?
not had a chance to watch it. I'm very much looking forward to it. I will say, though, in defense of Christina Ricci, Jenna Ortega is 20 years old. I don't know when they actually shot the film, but she is 20 years from the time that she was born to the time that the movie came out. It was 20 years. Christina Ricci, 11. So she probably did the Addams Family when she was 10 years old. So personally, I don't, and also she'd only done 1 or 2 movies before that, whereas Jenna Ortega has built up quite an impressive resume for her very young age. So I would like to just enjoy her performance for what it is without the comparison to Christina Ricci, because to be honest, I think that Christina Ricci is the GOAT when it comes to Wednesday Addams, and everybody else comes after her. So I'm excited to see a new version of Wednesday with a tip of the hat to Christina Ricci, who continues to impress in Yellow Jackets, by the
Who
way.
also appears in this.
Oh, yeah.
Christina Ricci makes an
No
appearance in
spoilers.
this.
She's great. No spoilers.
No, that was publicized.
Yeah.
That was all over the place.
No
What is it?
spoilers, John.
We're not going to say how
No
or where.
spoilers.
I haven't even watched it.
No
So I don't know.
spoilers.
Question is for you guys. What do you think of Christina Ricci's appearance as the murderer at the end of the show?
You don't mess with the
I'm
reach.
just kidding. Whatever you guys think about this and these numbers, are they surprising you? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2, shall we? Aaron, what is our second main topic today?
The one known as Ed says, planes, trains, and automobiles is all over the news lately with the recent re-release and all those hours of footage and Ryan Reynolds doing the John Candy documentary. And now Drew Barrymore is talking about doing a reboot with Cameron Diaz. I'm torn on this a bit because I love that movie and I sort of don't want it to be touched. But at the same time, I love those two together in Charlie's Angels and I think that they could do it well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so this was kind of a funny one. I guess somebody sent me a clip of this, and Drew Barrymore was talking to Adam Sandler. And she kind of mentioned to Adam Sandler conversation that her and Cameron Diaz had been discussing doing a planes, trains, and automobiles thing where I think Drew Barrymore was saying she would play the John Candy sort of role. Now, you have to understand my baseline philosophy. My baseline philosophy is remake anything. I don't care. Nothing is too precious that it can be remade. Because if it's good, you've got another good movie. If it's bad, you discard it and we don't talk about it. Nothing touches the originals. They're all still there. It's all still good. And, over the last couple of years, we've had a number of like remakes and reboots come out that we've gone, you know what? That's pretty damn good. And that's all fine. With a Cameron Diaz Drew Barrymore, by the way, I'm with you. I really loved the chemistry. Like I loved the first Charlie's Angels movie they did together. So much love the second one. But even then, I loved their dynamic together. Throwing Lucy Liu with them too. I thought the three of them had great dynamic, particularly Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore. Anyway, this comes from the folks over at IndieWire who wrote the following. Drew Barrymore may be reuniting with Cameron Diaz on screen. The daytime talk show host told her longtime friend and co-star Adam Sandler that she had been discussing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles remake with Diaz. And while Barrymore has her sights set on playing the role of an overbearing salesman originated by the late star John Candy, good Canadian kid, the Steve Martin marketing executive character is still up for grabs between Diaz and Sandler. Her and I did discuss remaking Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And then I was like, well, Adam and I talk about that too. Barrymore recalled telling Diaz during the Drew Barrymore show via Entertainment Weekly, well, I also want to play the John Candy role. So, I mean, you know what? I have heard worse ideas. Like I would be lying to you if I told you that if they did if they told me they were doing a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles remake and it was going to have like Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore, who I think have terrific fun chemistry on screen together, I'd be lying if I told you I wouldn't be interested. I would be interested. Look, will it ever be as good as the original? That's a tall order. But not every new mobster movie needs to be as good as The Godfather to still be great and enjoyable. And that's all I'm looking for in a movie, is to be enjoyable. So you know what? Take a shot at it. I don't care. If it sucks, and we move on from it. If it's good, it's good. So I'm all for it. I don't know. Chris, you hear about this. Number one, I don't think this will actually happen.
No.
I don't personally think this will happen. But if it did, I don't know, would it elicit any interest from you at all?
I mean, sure. I think it'd be really interesting for a project to get Cameron Diaz out of acting retirement. You know, she's
got that one with Jamie Foxx.
That's
she's doing,
true.
right?
But she's pretty much taken a back seat the past few years and has really been choosy with her projects, right? Because she's got a whole bunch of other ventures going on and she really just hasn't wanted to act for a while. So I think it's fun that she's also really looking to just go play with her friends is basically where we're at right now. And she and Drew Barrymore are adorable together. I'm wondering how they'll fill the shoes of John Candy and Steve Martin, because Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a great film with so many wonderful, wonderful moments. Man, that car reservation scene is just so good. And John Candy has a heartbreaking monologue in it, too, that I think Drew Barrymore could handle really well. But I'm wondering if that dynamic will change just given the two actors involved. But I think it'd be worth it. And if it isn't good, if they do this and it isn't executed well, you have the original to go back to, you know? I got real upset at first when I heard that they were remaking Clue, and then I went, why do I care? I can just watch Clue.
Yeah. And Aaron,
exist.
number one, do you think this will actually happen? I don't. And if they did, do you have any interest in this?
Yeah, I don't, you know, when an actor says, hey, yeah, I've been talking to so-and-so about doing this movie, you know, like, I talk all the time about things that I'm going to be doing. Now, there's a big difference between my career and Drew Barrymore's career. And also she has her own production company, Flower Films.
Hey, Drew Barrymore's never been in The Rookie.
Hey.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
And she probably also did not play prostitute number 1 in Star Trek Enterprise, and I did.
That's
so
right.
there you go.
Boom,
but you know, she does have her own production company, Flower Films, which has been quite successful. So when she says, "Hey, I'm thinking about making this movie," she can do that very easily. But this is not a movie that was recently announced is in development. There is no script. This is not actively happening. So I just go, all right, well, let's wait and see how this develops. I love Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore together. I think that they have a fantastic chemistry and dynamic. I don't know if this is the movie that I would want to see the two of them do, though. I would be interested in a reunion of Drew Barrymore with Adam Sandler. I think they also have excellent chemistry, and I feel like that makes a little bit more sense in my mind for a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But I would love to see Drew Barrymore and Cameron Diaz do something. I just don't know what that is.
Rob, you have any interest in a project like this?
No. But I here's the thing. I love Cameron Diaz and I love Drew Barrymore. And I think both women are deft comedians and they can play drama well as well. I would love to see the two of them together in a project and throw Adam Sandler in. The three of them, to me, I'd be very interested in that movie. But more interestingly, I think I can't stop thinking, could you even do Planes, Trains, and Automobiles now with all of our social media and cell phones and scheduling?
It would have to be definitely some kind of an adaptation.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Definitely age it for today's time.
Yeah, and because look, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles has become a holiday classic. That film it's one for the ages. The casting of Steve Martin and John Candy together was chef's kiss. And it's just one of those movies where I don't know if you actually could remake it based on where we are now with the world. I mean, maybe you could, but I now want to know how you would do it, because I can't think of a way to do it.
All right, guys, question is for you. What would you think about this? Now, I don't think any of us in this room actually think this is going to happen, but theoretically speaking, if they did, would this be something you'd be down for, at least giving a shot to, understanding that maybe it'd be terrible, maybe it'd be okay. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, before we move on here, we want to take a second to thank another sponsor of today's video, keeping me alive and healthy, our friends at Athletic Greens. Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, Athletic Greens. Now, I started taking Athletic Greens because I don't eat enough vegetables, and I was looking for a way to make up for that deficit in my diet of those vitamins and minerals that I really need in my system, and thank goodness I found Athletic Greens, and I literally take it every morning. You see, with one scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, all the things. And my wife got onto it, and now she absolutely loves it. You know, tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high-quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb like Athletic Greens. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Campea. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Campea to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And thank you to our friends at Athletic Greens for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. Remember, guys, when you support our sponsors, you're actually supporting our show. So if you look down in the description of this video, you'll find links and promo codes to all of the sponsors of today's show. And thank you again to Athletic Greens. All right, with that down, let's move on to main topic number. What number are we going on to here?
This is 3.
3. Aaron, what is our third main topic today?
Eric the Red's got the question on everybody's mind. I always wanted to know why we never got an Alita Battle Angel 2. The movie did pretty good at the box office, and I thought it was really excellent. Almost everyone I know liked it, and it set itself up to be a franchise at the end. The producer of the movies just said that they're still talking to Robert Rodriguez about it, and that it could still happen. Why hasn't it happened already? And do you guys think it finally will get off the ground? Thanks.
All right, Eric, thanks a lot for saying that in. And you know what? Alita Battle Angel was a long gestating project for James Cameron. Mm-hmm. He had talked about doing that movie for like 12 years. And it was a particular moment of heartbreak as a film fan when it was announced years before it came out that James Cameron wouldn't be directing it. It's like, oh, come on, really? But they went on and got Robert Rodriguez to do it. Robert Rodriguez, who has hits and misses. But when he hits, he's really, really good. So Alita Battle Angel comes out. And first of all, the first trailer came out and turned everybody off. The eyes on Alita look like just freaked everybody out. The first trailer was terrible. Now, the following trailers were actually pretty good, but they had already lost a lot of people with that first trailer. And as a result, it actually didn't make that much money. I mean, I think it made around the $400 million mark, which is great for a lot of films. I mean, Black Adam would take that right now. But for what they were thinking that movie could make and the expense of that movie, because it was an expensive movie, it didn't do all so great for them. And the response to it was mixed. I thought the movie was going to be a waste, and I enjoyed it. I liked Alita Battle Angel. And you're right, they did set it up perfectly for a sequel. This comes to us from the folks over at Joe Blow, who wrote the following. Although Alita Battle Angel had grossed more than $400 million worldwide, it didn't reach the blockbuster numbers the studio had hoped for. The film clearly set the stage for more, but the underwhelming box office, mixed reviews, and Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox, which was a big thing, seemed to cast doubt on a sequel to Alita Battle Angel. Alita Battle Angel has gathered a passionate fan base who would love to see a sequel, and those involved with the production are eager to return. The latest member of the Alita team to stoke the sequel fires is producer John Landau, who also produced the new Avatar, The Way of Water. Deadline caught up with Landau on the red carpet for Avatar, The Way of Water, and asked him if there were any other films he's going to be doing aside from Avatar. Well, he said, there's a little film called Alita Battle Angel that we would love to circle back and do a sequel to, Landau said. We've been talking to Robert Rodriguez about that, and hopefully that comes to fruition. And again, that comes just from the folks over at Joe Blow. Now, look, obviously producers, directors, whatever, they have their films. They make money when they make films. They'd love to make films. But I found it pretty interesting that Landau, who's there at the premiere of what might end up being the biggest grossing movie of the year, and certainly the reactions to it have been fantastic. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. The very fact that he decided on his own, he wasn't asked about Alita Battle Angel. He just decided to say, Alita Battle Angel. Us and the director, we are still talking about it. We think we might be able to circle around to this. Rob, let me ask you this. It's really a two-parter. We've heard Robert Rodriguez say he definitely wants to do another one. Now we're hearing the producer saying, yeah, we're still talking about it, and we think we can circle around to this again. Number one, do you think they can get another one made? And number two, do you think there would be an audience for it if they did get a second Alita made?
I actually do. I mean, I think that Alita Battle Angel kind of lives in the same place that the Pacific Rim does. It wasn't a huge hit here in the States, but I think it made more money in Asia. It's based on a Japanese manga. So I would imagine And this is one of these movies that has absolutely gained more of a reputation and an audience since it's been out. People have seen it on cable, they've watched it on physical media, they've streamed it, they have downloaded it. And I think that it's a film that people actually, the real problem that this movie had, I think, when it came out, John, was that a lot of the ideas in this film had been strip mined and used in other films, which is what happens a lot to a lot of comic books that are influential. The Wachowskis certainly made use of manga in the Matrix series. So I think this film, for a lot of people, felt familiar. It didn't offer the groundbreaking newness that it might have been when Cameron was first attracted to it. But I think people like it. I like this movie. I think it's good. I mean, I'd love to see this world revisited. Why not? It's a money issue, but if they could do it effectively, and also effects technology has come down, and since they probably still have a lot of these assets they created, because Rodriguez's production company was responsible for a lot of it, they might be able to make it more for a price.
Taylor, I'm going to get you to look this up. I'm going to guess it's on Disney Plus, but can you look up where you can actually stream that first one? Because I'm kind of feeling like I want to go back and watch the first one again.
It's on Hulu.
I could loan you
It's
the
on
disc.
Hulu. Actually, that makes sense. Yeah, Hulu totally makes sense. So it's on Hulu. Don't worry about your disc. Then it will go missing, and that's how your physical media works. Anyway, only one person can watch it at a time. Chris, I don't know. Like,
very
what
nice
did
of
you
you.
think about the first Alita? Do you think they can? I mean, it's been a number of years now. It is under the mouse house now. But you got the producer of one of the crown jewels over at Disney now saying, hey, we do want to go back and do this one again. What are the chances?
I mean, it'd be cool if they did. It was so visually interesting. I really enjoyed the aesthetic of it. But tonally, I mean, that movie was kind of all over the place. The emotional through lines weren't really there. I just felt like it had this kind of clumsy plot. And we really focused on how cool things could look. I mean, the skating stuff and everything was really, really rad in
And the
this.
fights, by the way, this picture is a great
fights
example.
were
The fights
really,
look
really
great.
cool. But the actual narrative, I feel like, just kind of meandered all over the place. And I think it was a little too much substance, style, not enough substance, if you will. And so I think if they could kind of get a mulligan on it, revisit it, do some things, tidy it up a bit, I think it'd be really cool.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? We got the producer of Avatar, who was a producer on the first lead, saying, hey, we want to do this. The director's on board. The producers are on board. He's handing Disney this big, fat, successful film in Avatar. I don't know. Do you think it could happen? Are you even interested in another Alita film? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into main topic number 4. Aaron, what is our 4th main topic today?
Wow, today is just the award season show. From Amin, who says, John, I've heard you say several times that you consider the Critics' Choice Awards to be the second most legitimate award ceremony next to the Oscars. I wanted to hear your take on the fact that 3 of your favorite shows, Andor, Yellowstone, and House of the Dragon, all got nominated for Best Series. Diego Luna also got nominated for Best Actor. I love this news.
All right, Amin, thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, listen, that we talked a little bit earlier on the show about a totally useless award show. Now we're talking about a much less useless award show. That, by the way, I would say second most credible awards other than the Oscars in terms of movies. I think you also got to put the Emmys above this in terms of television. But I consider the Critics' Choice to be a more legitimate awards thing than Golden Globes and than a lot of the other ones. Now, they have fallen for me in recent years because they've done a lot of stupid shit the last number of years with certain categories they've added just for the sake of getting stars at their show and whatever. But still, these are awards being voted on by people who saw all the movies and who actually saw all the TV shows. And yeah, this is exciting to me because they have just released their nominees for their major categories, including on the television side, their best show of 2022. Here are your list of nominees. Abbott Elementary, which my wife is psychotically in love with. I got to start watching that. Better Call Saul, which I know a lot of you guys love. Grey's Anatomy. House of the Dragon in its first season gets nominated for Best Show. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Saturday Night Live got nominated for Best Series overall. You know what? Screw that. I'm looking at the wrong list. I'm looking at the totally wrong list. Let's go back over here again. Try this again. I opened up the list for the People's Choice Award one. All right. The nominees are Andor, Bad Sisters, which I have not watched.
So good.
Better Call Saul, The Crown, Euphoria, which is a constant in all the best awards talks, The Good Fight, which is another one I haven't seen at all, House of the Dragon, Severance, good to see Severance on there, and of course, what I think is the best show on television right now, Yellowstone. This is a great list.
Yeah.
I love that you're right. Those three shows, Andor, Yellowstone, House of the Dragon, being on there. And on top of all of that, Diego Luna gets the nomination for Best Lead Actor in a series. Matt Smith gets nominated for House of the Dragon for Best Supporting Actor in a series. I mean, some big, big things across the board. I remember when the Emmys came out and we saw that Mandalorian got a big nomination. That was exciting for everybody. I am so happy to see Andor, which did not get the attention that Obi-Wan got. It's 10 times the show that Obi-Wan is, 10 times better than Obi-Wan. And I know there are people out there who like Obi-Wan more than I do because I didn't like it very much. But Andor is such an example of how good Star Wars can be. And I think it's opened up a whole new world of storytelling about what types of stories and how you tell stories in the Star Wars universe. Again, I think a lot of people went into House of the Dragon not knowing what they were going to get. Because there were a lot of people who didn't like the last season or two of Game of Thrones. They thought the whole franchise was done, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people said, I'll never watch this new thing. And listen, it's clearly a better first season than Game of Thrones' first season was. Of course, it got to build on all the foundation that Game of Thrones built. And of course, then just Yellowstone. Yellowstone continues for me to be the best show on television. So I think it is so encouraging to see not just genre stuff on here, but high level genre stuff like Andor and House of the Dragon. Anyway, Rob, you see this nominee list. What stands out to you?
Well, I think that nominee list is pretty much perfection in terms of the TV shows that have come out this year. I can't imagine it didn't leave anything off. Like you said, it's a great mix. There is no prejudice against genre. You know, for a long time, science fiction, fantasy, and horror were poo-pooed, but not anymore. I mean, now when you have shows like Severance and House of the Dragon and Andor, those days are over. But at the same time, I mean, they even brought in, The Good Fight was one of Paramount Plus's lead shows when they started their streaming service. And it's Christine Baranski, right? Who on the Good Fight.
Yes.
I mean, I've watched a couple of episodes of that show, but not religiously. I've just caught them. She's phenomenal on that show. That show's a lot of fun. And I didn't watch The Good Wife. It's a sequel series. And the fact that it's getting these kinds of accolades, it's great. So this list, you talk about legitimacy, dude. This is a legit list. It doesn't get more legit, I think. This is people that really know what is good out there, and they're willing to shine a light on that. And I think it's great.
Now, I fell off of Better Call Saul after like season 3, not because I tapped out on it. After I watched season 3, I just never got around to watching the rest of it. But I know a lot of people, who watch our show wrote in and saying, John, like the last couple of seasons of Better Call Saul, some people say they think it's better than Breaking Bad. I mean, so that's up here too. Chris, you're looking at this list. I mean, obviously for me, I'm looking at things like Andor, Yellowstone, House of the Dragon, stuff. What are the ones that are really standing out to you here?
I'm so happy Bad Sisters made it on there. That show is phenomenal. It's so great. And to echo what you all were saying too, it's really lovely to see genre not determining merit. Because that's what's happened in the past, is a genre is determined whether or not people view it as something worthwhile or quality. And you can have a Star Wars show that is incredibly compelling. You can have a fantasy show that is incredibly compelling. All of these, it comes down to good storytelling and great acting, right? So it's really cool to see such a diverse mix here of different types of storytelling happening. Man, I'm just happy to see like a littler show, a little Irish show like Bad Sisters in the mix with these kind of big blockbusters.
With one of the great, I've watched all that show.
Yeah.
With one of the great villains.
Oh,
that we've
he's
seen
such
on
a
TV
son of a
lately.
bitch. From the first episode, you're like, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And by the way, Severance getting
is
some
so
love,
good.
which is great to see. Like that was a show I nearly tapped out on after the first episode. I'm like, this is interesting, but the pace of it, I think it was the pace of it I found kind of draggy. And then I said, oh, no, let's just watch the second episode. Same thing that happened to me with Ted Lasso. Didn't really love the first episode, but once I saw the second episode, it just felt too much. The first episode of Ted Lasso to me felt a little too much just like a Saturday Night Live sketch.
He didn't hook you with, let's see each other in our dreams, but let's pretend we don't know each other at first so we can mess around.
Yeah, no.
Kind of like
I
White
fell in love
Lotus. It also
immediately.
has a slow burn. Like I forced Tom to watch like the first couple episodes of White Lotus, and he goes, "I don't understand why everyone loves this show." And I go, "Just wait, and you will."
Well,
So.
Severance was one of the ones that got me, and it gets the big nomination as well. Aaron, this is an incredible look. You got some mainstays on here like The Crown. Euphoria is a young show, but it's become a mainstay on all these kind of big awards things. Better Call Saul. Andor. Which one on this list is standing out to you the most?
You know what? I gotta say, I am really surprised and giving kudos to the genre stuff and specifically actors. Anthony Starr for The Boys.
Oh yeah, Anthony Starr
getting
got
a
nominated for
nomination.
Best-
Because
Yeah.
I mean, since season 1, I've been like, okay, this guy is all in. He is fully committed, but he has such a level to be saying some of the dialogue that is so just outrageous, but is really beautifully written, but definitely has a level. I mean, it takes an incredibly talented actor to be able to take dialogue that is already heightened and play it with such, play it so grounded and so rooted in truth and pain and history. You really kind of feel for this awful character. So I love the fact that Anthony Starr got a nomination. I have to say, not giving shade on Millie Alcock, but I'm a little surprised that she got a nomination and Emma Darcy did not for House of the Dragon. And you know what? I'm imagining that the only reason is because Emma Darcy was probably in the lead actress category, and they put Millie Alcock in the supporting actress category so that they wouldn't be competing against each other. And congratulations to Millie Alcock. She was fantastic as Rhaenyra Targaryen. But I was a little disappointed not to see Emma Darcy on that list as
I don't
well.
think
But
you could have put her in Best Lead because she was only in half the episodes. So could you have even qualified her for Best Lead?
well, I don't know how what the rules are
Yeah,
on
me
that,
either.
but I would be really surprised if they were both up for Best Supporting and that Millie Alcock got it and not her, because I really thought that Emma Darcy's role just required so much more from her. But yeah, this is a really impressive list, and I love that Reservation Dogs is also getting so much love.
Yeah.
Because that's a show that it's not on the radar of a lot of people, and that's why the Oscars and the Critics' Choice Awards, these types of programs and these award shows are so influential, is because they can raise the awareness of a show or a movie that may not be getting as many eyeballs, but really deserves a second look.
All right, guys. Question is for you. This is a great list of nominees from different types of genres, different types of storytelling, all across. By the way, want to point this out too. This is becoming a normal thing now, but just pointing it out. Andor Disney Plus, Bad Sisters Apple TV Plus, Better Call Saul AMC, The Crown Netflix, Euphoria HBO, The Good Fight Paramount Plus, The House of the Dragon HBO, Severance Apple TV Plus, Yellowstone on Paramount Network. No traditional network shows. None of the traditional, and that's becoming kind of a normal thing. Anyway, guys, which of these shows stands out to you? What are you rooting for to win? As you thrilled as I am to see Andor up there? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 5, shall we? Aaron, what is our 5th main topic today?
This is from Landon Wodash. Hello, John and crew. The first reactions for Avatar: The Way of Water have come out, and they are overwhelmingly positive. I was already extremely excited as a fan of James Cameron and the Avatar, and now I'm even more excited. Never bet against James Cameron. This movie is going to be huge. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's now we got our first look at a reaction recently from Guillermo del Toro. Del Toro was the first person to put out a reaction. He said, "This is an epic masterpiece made by a master at the height of his powers." And coming from Guillermo del Toro, big praise. But he also has a close relationship with James Cameron, so, maybe take that with a little bit of grain of salt. Well, we knew that yesterday the first reactions for Avatar: The Way of Water were coming out. And there seems to be a couple of things that are the consensus. Number one, the general consensus seems to be that the first film, which was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, that this film, according to some, easily surpasses the first. That's big talk, considering the first one, again, was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. There seems to be a general consensus that this movie easily surpasses that one. A lot of them are calling it a masterpiece. They're pulling out the M word, masterpiece. They're saying it's mind-blowing. They're saying it reinvents the idea of the genre. Like a lot of very, very, very high praise. I'm going to go into it here and just read just a couple of the reactions from some of the people. A friend of ours, Mike Ryan, wrote, Avatar: The Way of Water, yeah, never bet against James Cameron. Trying to spare the hyperbole, but I've never seen anything like this from a technical, visual standpoint. It's overwhelming. Maybe too overwhelming. Sometimes I'd miss plot points because I'm just staring at Pandora fish. Someone texted me and said, what was the most visually impressive part of the movie? And I responded, the whole damn thing. So there's that. Our friend Eric Davis, who's over at Fandango, wrote, I'm happy to say that Avatar: The Way of Water is phenomenal, bigger, better, and more emotional than Avatar. The film is visually breathtaking, visceral, and incredibly engrossing. The story, the spectacle, the spirituality, the beauty. This is movie making and storytelling at its absolute finest. Josh Horowitz wrote, James Cameron once again shows filmmakers how it's done. I've said it 1,000 times, never doubt him. Avatar: The Way of Water is how you do epic blockbustering, emotional, visceral, and as big as movies get. And as you go through, this is the general refrain. Now, one of the other things that comes out at some points is that there's a lot of story. And some people who are raving about the movie are also pausing to say, some of them are saying there may be too much story. Like there's so much story that sometimes it feels like it weighs it down. Some people are saying if you had, put a little bit less story in there, the runtime didn't need to be as long. But with that being the one kind of critique you're hearing out of it, everybody's just saying it's an amazing experience watching this film. And just going off the rails about it. Rob, you and I've talked a lot over the past year or so about, look, and I still say today, this movie will not be as big as the first one. I think the first one, of course, is the biggest movie of all time. I don't know that this movie, because the first one is approaching or is at $2.9 billion. I don't even think this one gets to $2 billion. Not even get to $2 billion. That would make it one of the biggest films of all time, a ridiculous success. But this is going to be a huge movie, super successful. Long runtime's going to hurt its box office a bit here, I think. But still, we've always said what it's really going to come down to is the movie good? Because we can talk about the hype of the first one. We can talk about the trailers and everybody, Pandora became a pop cultural touchstone for the entire pop culture for a long time. Can it get there? All that matters is the movie good? It's going to have a big opening weekend. The first Avatar only had a $77 million opening weekend, I think. This will be bigger than that. It sounds like it's incredible. It sounds like because you're hearing terminology here I have not heard from a lot of people before, including like guys like Mike and Horowitz and stuff like that. So I don't know. This sounds pretty encouraging to me. You've read through all the reactions. There have been a lot of them coming out about them. What's standing out to you? What do you think this means for the overall success of the film?
This does not surprise me at all. I mean, I've been a huge, staunch Avatar supporter since day one when I first saw it in the theater. I knew that this was everything about what we've heard about this movie is exactly what I thought it was going to be. It doesn't surprise me at all. I think like the first movie, like Top Gun Maverick, this movie's going to play for 4 months, at least. They're going to leave it. People are going to go, and they're going to go again, and they're going to go again and again. Because our culture since the first Avatar came out, we have become such a, what James Cameron brings, and Top Gun brought this too. What's missing in all of our lives is romance. Top Gun Maverick is a romantic film. And when I say romantic,
I'm not even talking about man-woman. I'm
talking about
romance
the notion about
Tolkien
life
sense.
being romantic. And this movie, the reason like James Cameron, why does James Cameron connect? I mean, the thing about Titanic and the thing about the first Avatar is they're very transportive, but everybody wants to we all have romantic notions about what our lives should be like. And Cameron is able to cut through all of the cacophony of the modern age and deliver that to us. And people are always like, well, Rob, the first Avatar is Fern Gully, it's Pocahontas, it's whatever it is. They're missing the point. The point is that James Cameron is taking all of those primal, even all the way back to childhood, there's an element of animation in Pandora, of the wonder of seeing, I equated it to being a child going to your first country fair, seeing the lights and cotton candy and seeing animals and the sights and the sounds. It's very basic and primal, and he's able to cut into that. And if you look at things like Aliens is a war movie, but it's based on the platoon getting together that goes all the way back to the beginning of Hollywood. It's the most basic level of men, and now in Aliens' case, men and women bonding over war, and at the same time, what is Aliens about? Two moms. At the end of the day, two moms fighting for their kid. I mean, and so he's going back to the most primal elements of man, and what he's done is he's given us the beauty and the wonder of what it's like to be a kid looking at an animated movie or going to a country fair. What this movie does that the first Avatar doesn't is now this movie is about husbands, wives, mothers, daughters, brothers, and sisters. The first Avatar didn't have that. I mean, real family. You know what? We in this country have Cameron is all about, even though he's a Canadian, he's all about taking the base ideas of what America is supposed to be and injecting them into sci-fi, action, fantasy films. And this movie is going to bring to America what Top Gun Maverick opened the door. We saw it with Top Gun Maverick. That's why it made $1.5 billion. This movie's going to make $3 billion.
You think so?
I think this movie...
In today's era, in today's...
This movie is going to bring this country what it has been sorely missing. And it's not going to be like you wait.
I hope you're right.
I might be out of my mind here, but I am so tired of listening to the genre crowd, the hardcore sci-fi, fantasy, and horror fans, all the people I know that I've been friends with. Rob, I'm like, you know what people are missing? And I'll say this. You are missing romance in your lives, and this is going to bring it to you.
I mean, I don't know why. I still shake my head whenever I hear people doubt James Cameron. Because,
dude, how we've been saying it.
Let's run down this. We've been saying it forever. First of all, my all-time favorite action film, In True Lies. I think that's...
And what is that movie about? A husband and wife.
Yeah.
And then you've got all this great action.
Yep.
But you've got a husband and wife trying to get their thing together.
And their kid and all that kind of stuff. You're talking about different people who are trying to find different things in their lives from the wife, but also, I got a tiny dick. I mean, also going back to Aliens as well. You're talking Aliens, you're talking Terminator, you're talking Avatar, you're talking Titanic.
Terminator is a romance.
All he does is crank out hits. He squats down and shits out hits. But anyway, Chris, you're reading all the the reactions coming out. I got to admit, I'm a little bit surprised hearing how heightened they are, but I think we all expected it to be good.
Yeah.
How has these come out matched with your expectations, and what has it done for your enthusiasm for the film?
I mean, I definitely expected them to be excellent reviews. I didn't expect this to be the Empire Strikes Back for Cameron, Right. I didn't expect this to be the sequel that surpasses the original. And I'm really excited to see this film now, even more so. The whole time going into this, though, every time people have talked about, like you guys have said, people have talked about, oh, is there even any buzz for this? This is just a rehashing of things, da-da-da-da-da. I've not understood that perspective because he does make excellent movies that really deliver.
When's the last time he made a bad one?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't mean
genuinely
that
don't
When's
know.
the last time James Cameron made a bad film?
He makes excellent movies. And
Piranha 2, The Spawning.
It's classic.
That he got fired off of, his first feature. That was the one and only time.
That's perfect.
And that's only because he was replaced.
He creates such spectacle, but still has that heart in there. And I think that's the thing that draws you in. You might come for those special effects and everything, but they are really excellent stories as well. So I think this all makes sense, and I'm really excited.
Aaron, obviously you haven't had a chance to see Avatar, The Way of Water yet. None of us here have, but I know you've had an enthusiasm for it. We're seeing these reactions come out now. Is this where you thought they would be? Are you surprised to see how good they are? What are you thinking right now?
It is exactly where my expectation was. I do not understand all of the naysayers and the poo-pooers. I just don't get it because just to reiterate, he's a hit maker. He understands his genre, and he has been working on this movie for like 20 years. So clearly he's not going to be like, and he's not going to just fart out some stupid blue movie. This is a movie this is his, I'm not going to say that this is his swan song, but this is a movie that he is only going to level up from everything that he did before. And you know what? For people saying, wow, there's too much story. Oh my gosh, there's too much to look at. Oh, gee, you think James Cameron made a movie that you might need to go see over and over and over and over and over
about too.
Like that is done on purpose. That's not an accident. He wants people to go, oh my God, that was amazing. I need to go back and watch that again in the theater and give more of my money. And I agree with Rob. We may be in the minority here, but if Avatar at this point, what is it, 20 years? How many? 20 years later?
13, 14 years later?
13, 14 years later has made $2 billion. Okay, well, yeah, I think in 15 years, Avatar 2 is going to at least reach that, if not top it. I'm in Rob's camp. And because what's going to happen also is there's going to be a huge re-release of Avatar, and everybody's going to go see that in the movies again, and it's going to be a whole big thing. I'm really excited to see this. I think that it's going to inspire and educate an entirely new generation of filmmakers. It's going to push the boundaries of what filmmaking can do. He has always been on the cutting edge of technology. And also, I think that because, I agree with you, Rob, and I think that, romance in whatever form that takes is something that's universal. It is a desire to have, the life we all dream of. And because these characters are blue and they are fictional, it's kind of like going into, when you're touring, when you're, going to open houses and you see a house that is staged. It's not supposed to look like somebody else's house. It's supposed to look like your house. So because these are fictional blue characters, no matter who we are or what we look like, we can all put ourselves into their experience and go, wow, what if I had a little bit of that excitement? What if I had a little bit of that romance? What if I had a little bit of that, in my life? And so I think that this is a universal story that globally will captivate people's imaginations and is going to do exceptionally well.
I mean, again, I still have to see it. I haven't seen it.
Right,
so
right.
I can't say anything other than to say that it looks pretty good and I love it. Our buddy, Dennis Zen, Dennis also saw it, and he was saying, the other thing he was really worried about, and I've heard some people express, I think I've heard you express this too, was a little bit concerned about was the high frame rate. Because, that has turned some people off in other movies like the Hobbit movies and stuff like that. Dennis said they moved back and forth between traditional 24 frames and high frame rate, and Dennis actually said it actually worked. So that was good to hear from Dennis, because I know Dennis was really concerned about that. I mean, look. You go back to this whole thing about people saying, well, the first one was just Dances with Wolves in Space. And James Cameron himself has said, yeah, the movie's Dances with Wolves in Space. But I don't hear anybody complaining that Top Gun Maverick was just Star Wars. With the whole Top Gun Maverick was entirely built around the Star Wars Death Star trench run. That's the movie. But guess what? You take a thing that's been done before, you put your own thing to it, you make a new story out of it, and it can be incredible. And that's kind of what they've done. And by the way, I hope this movie becomes another case point, because you often hear people say, well, I mean, come on, we just want a movie that's fun. Yes, we want movies that are fun. But movies like this can start to prove that your movie can be fun and have artistic excellence to it. These are the movies that take you beyond making $700 million, which are great, to making 1.3, 1.5, 1.9, $2 billion when you do both. You can have fun and excitement and style and visual spectacle and tell great stories at the same time. And those are the ones that are really successful. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The general consensus coming out from a lot of people is this is better than the first. And the first was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Award. Could we be looking at maybe a new frontrunner for Best Picture at the Academy Awards? Again, it's hard to say. We haven't seen it yet ourselves. But what are you feeling about it right now? Where's your excitement level for Avatar 2, if any at all? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. We are now going to move into taking your live comments and questions here on the show. So we are opening up the super chats. They are now open for you. So if you've got a thought, theory, opinion, question, whatever you'd like us to address, go ahead and start firing those in now. Now, before we get to those, we're going to hear from a couple of our sponsors here. Number one, I use these guys on my treadmill this morning, my Raycon earphones, and of course, Ryan Reynolds' own Mint Mobile. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Raycon. Guys, the holiday season is upon us, so in the spirit of giving, allow me to give you my recommendation. Premium audio products from Raycon. Raycon's wireless earbuds, headphones, and speakers offer premium sound. Anyone you gift them to will find a use for them right away. And as the person doing the gift giving, you're gonna love the fact that they start at half the price of other premium audio brands. You guys know I've been using my Raycons for a long time. Every morning I get up and get on my treadmill, and I love using the Raycons because they're comfortable, they fit perfectly, and most importantly, they sound great. You can find Raycon in stores now like Kohl's or Walmart, but let me tell you right now, you're always going to get the best deal at buyraycon.com/Campea. The Raycon website also offers free shipping, free returns, and buy now, pay later options, plus a 30-day happiness guarantee. So guys, right now go to buyraycon.com/Campea to get 15% off site-wide with the code HOLIDAY, plus free shipping. That's code HOLIDAY at buyraycon.com/Campea for 15% off your Raycon purchase. buyraycon.com/Campea. Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. This holiday season, the best deal in wireless can only be found at Mint Mobile. Right now, when you switch to Mint Mobile and buy any 3-month plan, you get another 3 months for free. Mint Mobile lets you order and activate from home with eSIM, while saving tons on phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know I've been using Mint Mobile long before this holiday deal, and I have to say it is the perfect time to switch. I have absolutely loved using Mint Mobile, and like I've told you guys many times, I am now spending less than 1/3 of what I used to spend under one of the other major mobile carriers. And now with the whole buy 3 months, get 3 months free deal, it's even better. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text, plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily and effortlessly with eSIM. Or if you need a new device, for a limited time, get 6 months of free service when you buy a select device and plan. So guys, for a limited time, buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plan and get 3 more months for free by going to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends both at Raycon and Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's get over to your super chats that you guys have sent in. Aaron, what do we got in our super chats?
Yes, in our super chats. The first one is just some love from My Love for Movies. Thank you so much. Nicholas Dierks sends in also a little super chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sam Fisher, one of two, who says, I saw Pinocchio, liked but didn't love. It was visually gorgeous, set in fascist Italy. I did briefly doze off, so I have to rewatch it. Oh, a friend of yours, Ray. And it is a musical with... It is a musical with music by Alexander Desplat. I was also the person who wrote in about the reporter to say that it was the best pick contender. Well, thank you for that.
I remember that. I said, well, one random reporter saying that doesn't really mean anything. That's just one random person saying that. But I've been seeing in the trades some speculation now that this movie could end up being actually not just for best animated picture, but best picture overall, which again would only be the 4th time in history that that's happened. The other 3 times, Beauty and the Beast, Toy Story 3, and was it not WALL-E? It was Up.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the only 3 animated films in history to be nominated for Best Picture. This would be the 4th, and if it does, that's incredible. So yeah, and maybe you should watch the whole thing before deciding if you like it or love it. Yeah, but dozing off isn't a good sign, though. All right, what's next?
Fanjecture says, chances Avatar 2 and or 3 become the first to $1 billion domestic?
No. Like even the first Avatar, which made $2.9 billion at the box office. I believe you have to have Taylor double check this, but I think it's something around the neighborhood of 700 million, still like a couple $100 million short of Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is, for those of you who didn't know, a little bit of trivia, Star Wars The Force Awakens is still the #1 box office film of all time domestically with 900 plus something million. So right now I'm going to guess no, but again, let me see the movie. Let me gauge how the audience that I'm in there feels like, and then maybe I'll change my mind. But right now I'll say no. All right, what's next?
From Jay King, he said, seeing Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio at the Paris Theater this weekend, followed by an in-person Q&A with GDT. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. So excited. Also, have a great day. I'm super stoked for you.
I gotta say, one of the really cool things about living in LA and the LA area is how many opportunities there are for certain screenings with directors and producers and writers being in attendance. I remember one of the first things I ever went to when I had moved down to LA was I went to an anniversary screening of Tootsie.
Oh, wow.
And Dustin Hoffman was there doing a Q&A. It was at the Cinerama Dome.
Oh, wow.
At the ArcLight is where they did that. It was great. Do you have one in particular that you really love being at where a director was there to do Q&A?
There's so many. I'll tell you, I went and saw Apocalypse Now at the Cinerama, but I met Martin Landau there.
Oh, wow.
And he was just in line for popcorn, and I was standing right behind him. I'm like, oh my God. And he and I had this really long, it was the second time I met Martin Landau twice in my life. That was the first time I met him. And we just had a really interesting conversation about his career. And it was amazing. But LA's like that because, I mean, this year at this time, they have all the PGA screenings where they bring in all the filmmakers and you can go see just about anybody. And this girl I know, Michelle, I keep meaning to get back to her. She would take me. Last year I saw Denis Villeneuve speak in front of Dune. Oh, and it was incredible.
All right, what's next?
My Love for Movies sends in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, My Love for Movies.
About the Emancipation movie. As a black man, I am so tired of these slave films. Haven't we told this story enough? Can we go 1 year without one of these films showing black people being tortured or presented as inferior?
Listen, one of the things that movies do is tell real human stories. This is based on a photograph and a real life story of an individual. But to me, it's kind of like saying, haven't we seen enough movies about police? Haven't
or
we
World
seen,
War II?
Yeah, or murder mysteries, or movies where two people fall in love. I mean, yeah, but if there are individual stories to tell those stories. That's what we as a species are. We're storytellers. And I think there should always be those types of stories being told. And so, look, as long as the movies are good, that ultimately is what it comes down to. So, yeah, if there are hard-hitting human stories to tell the stories. I don't care if it's the 18th cop movie that's came out this year. I don't care if it's the 4th slavery era movie that came out in the last decade. I don't care. If you can tell a compelling human story that moves us, I don't care what the subject matter is. Tell it.
I think the only difference, though, is that, and this is something that has been said repeatedly from people in the black community, is that, at a certain point, when do we stop seeing the brutalization of black people and continuing to tell us a story about a slave? Like, there's really no way around that. For me as a woman, I don't want to see a woman get raped. I don't need to see that. I don't want to see a woman get beaten. I don't need to see that. That's why I didn't want to watch the fake Marilyn Monroe movie. And so when people from this community are saying, hey, I'm really happy to see stories that are inspiring of, black people doing incredible things, but I'd really like to stop having us, on a 70-foot screen being brutalized. When that continues to happen to this day, and it's an ongoing issue, I think that there is a real conversation to be had there. Your point is very valid. I also think that the other point is coming from that community is incredibly valid as well.
Also, there's a movie coming out about a black musician, a famous prodigy called Chevalier.
Wasn't that during the period piece?
Yeah, and I didn't know anything about that, and I've only seen the trailer, but it's right up my alley. I love stuff like that. But there's more. What I love is seeing more stories told that have a wider range of subject matter. And that looked and I just read an article how that is a real guy. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. I didn't know anything about it, but that's coming this Christmas too.
I heard you were just talking about why am I just froze on the name of it. Apocalypse Now. Director of Apocalypse Now. Coppola once said, and I this has always stuck with me. He goes, to understand he used the word courage in there somewhere. I can't remember exactly, but to understand how monumental it is for our character to climb the mountain, you have to first understand the mountain. And so that's one of the things that comes to me when we're talking about certain movies like that. But again, I guess with every story being told, you've got to find the right way to tell it, and with sensitivity and whatever. So maybe there's a discussion.
And I think that also going back to my World War II analogy, Germany has done a lot to right the wrongs of their history. America hasn't. And that's a whole other discussion for a whole other time. But I think that's also part of it, is that we still haven't really done anything about there's a big problem that has still never been addressed. And Germany has done a lot to address their really bad history. America hasn't. So I think that's also another reason why this is a bit more of an issue than some of the other stories that we tell. But
all right,
moving on.
Let's move on. What's next?
Dumbrodor. Love the name. Dumbrodor sends in a super chat and says, Alexander Calvert, Lucifer's son on Supernatural, thank you, is in Gen V. The Boys' social media is in Gen V?
That's the name of the Boys spinoff.
Oh, great. Okay, is in Gen V. The Boys' social media replied to a fan on this that Kripke is collecting his supernatural affinity stones.
I mean, awesome. Listen, all through The Boys and everything, he has constantly gone back and gotten more and more. We're just waiting for Jared Padalecki to make an appearance in there once he's not so tied up with his Walker Texas Ranger kind of stuff. But I did not know he was appearing in it as well. I am very much looking forward to the show. That first trailer...
I didn't get to talk about it with you guys, but it looks great.
Blood tentacles.
Wow.
Blood tentacles.
That's all you gotta say. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, and puppets. All right, what's next?
Next is from Zach Marcello, who says, about James Cameron, what is the deal with folks doubting him? People bag on Titanic these days, but I recall Titanic Fever when that came out. And he has a follow-up to this.
I'm
not. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Okay.
Titanic was everywhere and extremely loved back then. Now it's hip to bag on that movie, just like Avatar. I just don't get it. Both are amazing.
It is what we do. It's just what people do when something gets super popular and look at music, right? A song comes out that completely, rocks. People love it. And then it has the incredible success that you think that song deserves to have. But having that success means it gets played a lot. And then people this is back when people used to listen to the radio. And then people go, I'm so sick of that song. And that we do those movies too. Movie comes out, it's amazing, it's brilliant. And then it becomes the cool thing to bag on the thing that became popular. It's what we do. And you know what? If we're going to be honest, all of us have done it from time to time. And nobody's been more successful than James Cameron.
No, and it's also a generational thing. Generations don't want to be told what's great. My new thing to look at people bag on is U2, the band U2. I mean, I was collecting
greatest band of all time, by the way.
Well, like albums like Boy. I remember early U2 stuff was amazing, and in 1987, when the Joshua Tree came out, that album was huge, and it's a great record. And now people bag on U2. I'm like, you give me a break.
Yeah. All right, but it is what we do.
It's generational.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Excuse me. My Comic Planet sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. One thing that surprised me from the Avatar reactions was just how many people who said they either didn't like the first one or thought this one was so much better. That was fascinating to me.
I was not expecting to hear people say things like it easily surpasses the first one. Like I was, and I personally know a number of the people who gave their reactions that I know are not fans of the original Avatar and went into seeing that kind of skeptical and are now just gushing about it. So, I mean, to me, that's what says a lot. I mean, it's one thing for somebody who's a diehard Avatar fan to come out and say, I loved it. And that's great. But it's another thing when somebody I know who's like, the first Avatar ain't all that much. And they went in to go watch this and they were like, oh my God, this thing's amazing. Like that says a lot. It says a lot. All right, what's next?
Mr. Hank Dunn says, I had a dream where Miller finally gave an interview explaining their actions, but the interview was on Hot Ones and it was amazing. I do love Hot Ones. That's
Hot
a great
Ones
show.
is great.
Who was it? who did they just say was on Hot
Puss in
Ones?
Boots.
Puss in Boots. That's right. The next Hot Ones is going to have Puss in Boots. So clearly it's all contrived and scripted and whatever. But that's too bad because I listen, I'm sure Complex, my former employer, I'm sure they're getting paid a lot of money to have Puss in Boots on Hot Ones. But it kind of takes away from the specialness of it, I think.
Cats
But
don't
yes,
like
that would be
spicy
something.
food.
I can't. Everybody's raving about Puss in Boots. I can't wait to see that too.
Really, John?
Seriously.
You can't wait to see Puss in Boots?
Oh, a cat that dies 8 times? Yes. Love it. Can't wait. It's gonna be great.
So
All right.
much.
What's next?
I don't know why I come
He
here.
gets so dark.
I don't know why I come here. I hate him. Srebirth says, I order you not to go. I order you not to go. I now know why you cry, but it's something I can never do. I don't know what any of that's from, but I feel like I gave a great delivery.
Yeah, it's Terminator 2.
Okay. Oh.
Yep. I'm ordering you not to go when they're standing outside in the parking lot and the whole thing's.
Oh, right. I order you not to
And that's
go.
another James Cameron moment. I mean, look, the stupid scene too when he's hanging on the chain and lowering himself.
Oh, God. That is too
into
much
the
for
lava. It was just like.
How do you not cry at that?
It's a boy and his pet.
I mean, it's true. It's
I mean,
the story of
that's
a boy and his
what
dog.
Cameron
Yeah.
does in all of his stories, and to not understand the fundamental thing he's attaching to all of these things is that's why people underestimate him.
All right, what's next?
Slim Shady says, hello, Campea crew. Awesome show so far today.
Thank you.
I've been watching you in the chat. I was wondering if any of you guys have seen the movie District 9. Yes, I find it hilarious and a good watch.
I don't know if I find it
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Nine?
The prawns.
I mean, there are moments.
Sure.
Because the
That's
movie
the
is
one in the
the
slums,
aliens come to Earth.
Yeah.
in the slums of India.
No.
South Africa.
South Africa.
South Africa. Sorry.
Yes.
It's very Kafkaesque.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember that being funny.
It's
No.
again made by another good Canadian kid, Neil Blomkamp. Made that, but because of the heaviness of it, when they do throw in the moments of levity, they really do pop. Never understood how we didn't get District 10.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie they made. I think they made that movie for $30 million. $30 million.
Wow.
They made that visual effects heavy movie for, and it was really good, and it made a lot of profit. I'll never understand how a sequel didn't get made. Like somebody's got a picture of somebody with somebody else's wife preventing this movie from getting made. There's no other explanation because there's no business case you can give me as to why it makes sense that they didn't do a sequel. No. Somebody's got dirt on somebody else that's keeping this movie from being
No,
made.
they made the masterpiece Chappie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not a great. And Elysium. Remember that? With Matt Damon? Yeah, that would, yeah. He wasn't able to follow up very strong. But why was there not a District 10? Anyway. All right, what's next?
A Sith Loud says, who sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Pinocchio is going to be fantastic. I love stop motion and claymation, and I appreciate the love and energy that goes into making one of those types of films. One of my favorites is, great one, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
George Clooney. That's a good one.
It's really good.
There was one out recently that would have been my kind of thing, and I'm trying to remember who directed
Island of
it.
Dogs?
Island of the Dogs, but I'm just trying to remember who directed it. It was
It's Wes Anderson.
yeah,
still.
Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Did not love Island of Dogs. Isle of the Dogs or Island of the Dogs, whatever the full thing was. That one didn't quite click for me as well, but like other ones like Mr. Fox, some of those can be just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Cannot wait to see this. All right, what's next?
From Vixter 5001 says, the first 2 episodes of the new Slow Horses were fantastic. Gary Oldman is perfect in this role.
Now, I have still never watched a show. Rob, I think you were telling me about it, right?
Yeah, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen the first episode, and it's great.
Because just season 2 just came out, right?
Yes, and it's funny you said because that was something I was looking for. I couldn't think of what I started that I hadn't. Damn it! Now I remember. Like sitting in bed, I could have. But
Gary Oldman looks great in it.
everyone loves he's great. The show's great. I mean, but
From the episode you saw.
from the episode I saw, but the way I've heard everyone talk about it, it's great. People talk. It's
Gary Oldman looks great in everything.
Yeah,
says
he
he's
really
gonna
does.
I
retire.
don't even know what it is about that man. He is just like weirdly sexual. Like he makes my clothes melt off. Sorry.
All right.
You ever see Sid and Nancy?
Dante Siricia says the 3 best comedies of the year for me: Weird, Lost City, and my number 1 with Justin Long, Christmas with the Campbells. Watch it. My wife and I were crying with laughter.
Oh, I want to see that one. It looks so fun.
I've never even heard of this movie.
It's a new
And I love
raunchy
Justin
Christmas comedy. It looks fantastic.
Where is it?
I don't know what it's streaming on.
Is it a streamer?
Taylor,
This
can
one?
you check?
I
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
I love
Thank you.
Justin Long, and I haven't even
Yeah.
heard about this. First of all, Weird. If you guys have not seen the Weird Al Yankovic story yet, I don't know what you're waiting
So
for.
good.
The movie is hilarious. I've not talked to one person that has seen it
It's really good.
that did not love it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything. Like, what about the recording in the bathroom scene, which, by the way, is actually
real.
was real.
Yeah.
Right. Or the when they run into the guy from Queen at the pool party.
Freddie Mercury?
From Queen. What's that?
Freddie Mercury?
No.
No, it was one of the other guys. That's
Oh.
they made a joke out of because it wasn't Freddie
Yeah.
Mercury. It's like, come on, I'm from Queen. Or Jack Black as Wolfman.
It's so good.
The whole movie.
Evan
is-
Rachel Wood kills it in that.
So
Oh,
So
the Madonna
good.
character, the parents.
It's wonderful.
Your father and I have discussed, and we think it's best for you to stop being who you are and doing what you love. This is like one of the greatest lines in any movie ever. So good. You guys got to watch Weird. It's so good.
Oh,
All right.
Looks like
Dante's-
Christmas with the Campbells is not streaming anywhere, but just available on digital torrent.
Okay, yeah. Dante Sarakia said that he rented it on Amazon, so I will be doing the same. Thanks, Dante.
All right. Okay, what's next?
Bobby Jackson says, is the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles remake announced with Will Smith and Kevin Hart dead?
I have heard no such thing ever being announced.
No.
No. So, I mean, unless I totally missed that, but I do not believe there was ever. You might have read a rumor about that once and are confusing with a rumor with an announcement, but unless I'm forgetting it, which is possible, we go through 500 news stories every week, but I have never heard of such a thing being announced. All right, what's next?
Eldon Goblin says, when are you guys sitting Chris down for a Callisto Protocol session?
Oh, is that gross thing from Clockwork Orange?
no, that's the
What is
Ludovico
this?
technique.
Okay, what is Callisto?
I think that's a new video game.
I don't know.
I don't know
Is
what
it?
this
Not
is.
familiar with it, unfortunately.
I'm not sure.
But we still have to, once we get the lounge set up, we're going to have you guys, Aaron and Chris, sit down to watch The Descent. I'm very excited about that. It's going to be the
No.
best video we've
You've
ever put up
literally
on
been
this channel.
talking about that for 4 years.
Nah.
I know, but it's going to
Nobody
happen
cares.
before Christmas. Before Christmas, we're going to make that happen.
When?
All right. What's next?
Al Renshaw sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Al Renshaw. Saw Avatar re-release and teared up. I felt a sense of wonder that I haven't seen since the first Avatar, and then maybe Infinity War. The Avatar 2 trailer did that for me.
One of the things that really was the flare going up in the air to remind everybody how big this franchise was just how much money the re-release just made. Because this is a 13, 14-year-old movie that has had re-releases before, and has been available on home streaming, so everybody can see it whenever they want. And for a re-release, it made a ton of money. For a re-release, I'm telling you, this movie's gonna be big.
Al is, I think he hit the nail on the head. Again, our society is not in touch with its sense of wonder anymore. Because there's wonder all around us and we don't even see it. Everyone's too busy looking at TikTok videos. And I think James Cameron's come along it's true. And
That just was like such a get off my lawn you use.
look, that was not
My day, we didn't use the Tic
I
Tacs.
didn't say anything about my day. I mean, but what I mean? I mean, look, we're looking at ourselves. TikTok is all about looking at each other. It's not about looking outward for a sense of wonder.
Xavier Phoenix in the live chat is saying, I feel attacked.
James Cameron's going to bring the wonder back that people
That's
miss.
right.
He will. I agree with that.
All right. What's next?
We got
Al
issues.
Renshaw. That was just a Dumbledore. Good to hear from you again. Why are you people talking about the People's Choice Awards? Why, John? Who cares? It's all about the Kids' Choice Awards. That's the
Exactly.
real high
I actually
caliber
thought
award.
that was the Kids' Choice Awards.
But Paul Feige, yeah, because damn it, Paul Feige won a Kids' Choice Award. Give him his respect. Again, but no, honestly, normally, like each year when the People's Choice Awards come out, I don't think we cover it on a regular basis. But just two really interesting points were raised by this. Number one, the fact that Doctor Strange 2 won Movie of the Year kind of drives home the point that this is an award ceremony voted on by people who see 3 or 4 movies a year. But it also did make the point because Thor: Love and Thunder was one of the nominees, was one of the finalists of Best Movie of the Year. It goes to prove the point Chris has made an awful lot, which is, in our circles, these movies may have bad reputations. But the reality is, amongst the 90%, amongst the 90%, the average casual moviegoer, those people seem to really like it. And it's just a kind of a reminder for us that sometimes there's a little bit of a some people will often talk about the disconnect between, which really hardly ever happens, but the disconnect between the critics and the fans. Well, what I think a lot of the hardcore fans forget is that there is a bigger disconnect sometimes between us in these hardcore movie fan circles and the casual movie fan. We often forget there's a big disconnect there too sometimes. And I just thought it was interesting that the People's Choice Useless Tits on a Bull Award kind of drove that one home. So I just thought that was interesting. All right, guys. And that'll do it.
Wait, we have more.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah,
I thought that was the end of it.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, you didn't move it up, so I just assumed that was the end of it.
Yeah,
we have this
Jonathan.
shorthand, Jonathan. What's going on? I thought that was the end of it. All right, never mind.
Tits on a bowl.
Let's tits on a bowl.
Tits on a bull.
That was good practice.
Let's get to the next ones. What's next?
Stubble McShave says, when you're watching Avatar 2, Aaron can pee on Ray halfway through the film and solve 2 problems.
I think that just makes a really big problem.
Yeah, that doesn't solve any problem.
For those of you who don't know, I can't make it through a 3-hour film because I have a really small bladder and I will wet my pants.
90-minute film.
That's true. I can't make it through a 90-minute film. John learned that when we were driving to Vegas, and he had to stop driving every hour and a half for me to go to the bathroom. And then Ray can't stay awake for 3 hours. So, yes.
Justin's just gonna pee on
Ray, I will pee on you.
Thank you.
Where is our
Try peeing
HR
on his foot.
department? We need one.
All right,
That
what's
solves
next?
so many problems. Seconds from Disaster says, I ordered a couple things for the adoptive family, but it's being sent to my house on accident. What's the protocol for getting it to you?
Oh.
Oopsie. You should definitely donate those items when they arrive to you. Contact your local church or shelter.
Yeah, you know what? Aaron just actually gave the best because we don't give out our address for things to be shipped
Why
here.
not, John?
So, yeah, imagine why. We don't. But that's first of all, thank you for doing that. Though your heart was in the right place. Thank you. So either enjoy, or I'm sure there are local agencies that would be more than happy to accept the donations. So make something good out of it anyway. But thank you for that. All right, what's next?
Pablo Zuniga sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you, Pablo. Now, excuse me. Now that Christmas time is here, my goal is to get John and everyone to watch my favorite Christmas movie, Arthur Christmas.
Hell
Amazing, underrated movie from Aardman.
it's great.
Have any of you heard of it or seen it?
It's adorable.
It's great.
So freaking cute.
Arthur Christmas?
Okay, it is an animated film in which we have generational Santas. So you have Bill Nighy playing the oldest grandpa
Stop it.
Santa, and you have Jim Broadbent playing current Santa, and then you have James McAvoy and House. Why am I?
Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie, thank you, as the sons, and it is adorable and delightful.
That
Okay, wait a
sounds
minute.
adorable and delightful.
What was the
cute.
sci-fi series just on HBO again?
The 17.
Yeah.
No.
Avenue 7.
Where
Cruiser?
there are 3 emperors and the brother
Foundation.
Yeah, Foundation. We had Brother Day, Brother Dawn, Brother Dusk. Is that what this is? A Santa,
This is the
Brother Day,
Christmas
Brother
equivalent for the whole
Kind
family
of.
of Foundation.
Okay, got it.
It's so cute. It's really worth checking out.
And it's Wallace and Gromit. It's art and animation.
It's adorable.
All right. I've never heard of it. Good to know.
It's about restoring the wonder of Christmas.
All right. What's next?
Jay Masters says, last week, Bob Iger had a town hall company meeting at Disney headquarters with employees telling them that Disney isn't merging nor selling to Apple.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's what we just followed up on the story that was out there. And we said we don't really think that was happening at all. We laid out the reasons why you could believe it. But at the end of the day, we were like, yeah, that's not happening. Plus, there are other talk out there about Disney acquiring Netflix, and the Hollywood Reporter did a pretty good thing about why that could very well happen, but none of us believe that's going to happen. They're just leveraged too much at this point, but it's interesting. Now, he said a lot of interesting things at that town hall meeting as well to put some speculation to bed. So, but that was definitely one of them. All right, what's next?
Rafael Castillo says, Aaron, you'll always be whatever number 1 in my heart. I don't know what that means, but I'll take it. Thank you. Rob, Arrow is pre-selling Shanghai Millionaires Express.
I know. Oh my God. Look, between what Arrow is doing I can't even keep up anymore. It's gotten to the point where I need to make a lot more money to keep up with these Arrow releases. But yeah, an Asian cinema has had an incredible year this year. And by the way, the Shaw Brothers box set 2 came out from Arrow.
All right, what's next?
Yesterday.
Suthius sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Suthius. I was looking up some info on the Wayans siblings, and man, time sure flies. I grew up with them watching in living color religiously. Same. Keenan is now 64.
Wow.
Damon is 62. Kimberly 61. Sean 51. And Marlon still looking sexy at 50. Wow.
Marlon and Sean being 50 and 51 is the one that gets me.
Marlon's so nice. I went to his
Marlon's
Christmas party a
lovely.
couple years ago.
Really?
Yeah, Logan and I were potentially going to be writing for What the Funny, a website that he was going to be doing at the time, kind of like College Humor. And it fell through, but he still invited us to come kick it, and it was super, super fun.
I think he's at the Yamava.
I was just gonna say, we were just driving down the highway and there was a Yamava poster and he's doing stand-up there. Yeah. So that's crazy. that
He's
the younger one-
still my favorite project he's ever done is Requiem for a Dream. And I do not understand why he did not do more drama. He was so
He's
good
so
in
good in
that.
that.
And he went
That
and did
movie is
Dungeons
such a
and Dragons.
heartwarming holiday film.
He did Dungeons and Dragons.
Perfect for the whole family.
All right, what's next?
Hero 75 says, I am not going to see Avatar on opening weekend. A mixture of work and my monthly D&D game will prevent me from seeing it until the following Tuesday. Well, you're still going to go see it in the theater, and that's great.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't get the feeling that this is a got to avoid the spoilers kind of movie. I don't like, just like the first one really wasn't either. So I think you're going to be good. I think you'll be good. And good on you for keeping your priorities with your Dungeons and Dragons game. I respect that. All right, what's next?
Hitchcock is the GOAT, says Taylor Sheridan just pitched a show for Paramount Plus. A guy wearing a cowboy hat stares at a mirror silently for an hour. It was greenlit immediately.
I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
pretty
he's
much.
kind of ruling the world right now. And I think it was one of our viewers brought up the idea about, okay, like we're all talking about this, like he's got several shows going. He's got The Mayor of Kingstown. He's obviously got the Yellowstone stuff going
Universe.
on. The Yellowstone universe. He's got King of Tulsa, which I'm really liking. I'm all caught up now. I'm really liking King of Tulsa. And then somebody brought up, and I don't know why I didn't think about this. He goes, at what point does he cross them over? At what point does
Sylvester Stallone go and visit Harrison
need
Ford?
to go to Montana? Is it Montana? Yeah, it's Montana, right? Need to go to Montana and comes across John Dutton or Rip or something like that. It's like, I don't
He's
know if
getting
that
into
can
Dick
work.
Wolf territory.
I'll be there for it. I'll be there for it.
Do some business.
Yep, I'd be totally there for 100% or Jeremy Renner's
A
character.
special holiday episode of Yellowstone.
Oh, I love all of his shows. I cannot wait for Mayor of Kingstown to come back. I love that show. Like, he's just ruling the world right now. All right, what's next?
By the way, Rafael Castillo clarified in the chat that whatever number one was in reference to the prostitute number one. He said, I'll always be his whatever number one. Thank you, Rafael. Thank you. That was very
Aaron's
sweet.
my favorite prostitute.
Same.
All right, what's next?
Matt Boyle sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Matt. He said, I just watched The Fugitive and U.S. Marshal for the first time. Great movies. Harrison, phenomenal as usual. Jones, just excellent. Snipes, awesome. Robert Downey Jr., he needs to be a villain more.
I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't all that big on U.S. Marshal. I mean, I understood why they made that movie because Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive was incredible. I mean, it's honestly one of the 20 to 30 all-time iconic scenes. I didn't kill my wife. I don't care. It's like, seriously, it's one of the most iconic moments in film. That movie, if you haven't watched Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive, you got to watch The Fugitive. I personally think it's probably Harrison Ford's best non-Indiana Jones or Star Wars movie. I love that movie.
It's great.
U.S. Marshal, I didn't feel it as much. Did you like that one much?
Well, it's missing Harrison Ford.
Well,
So
yes.
I agree with you. It's not, it's like, okay, it suffers from we're making a sequel to this hugely successful film without the film star. It's kind of like Speed 2. You know,
Ooh.
Jason Patrick's going to be in this movie instead of Keanu Reeves.
Or Wakanda Forever.
Or Wakanda Forever, yeah.
Speaking of Tommy Lee Jones, him in Natural Born Killers, so good. So good. Yeah, he plays the warden of the prison that's
the
keeping
cast
Mallory
of that
Knox.
movie is incredible.
Oh, and
Robert
the
Downey Jr.
soundtrack. Yeah, so good.
But he is the most insufferable celebrity to try to talk to.
he really is.
Who? Tommy Lee Jones?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, I would love to see you trying to interview him and him just giving you I don't care. I think he's great.
Well, we had an interview with him. I think we had Roth doing the interview, and like we had these great questions for him. She read this big, like really good question, and he's like, "Yes."
Every
Were you the one who had to edit that one?
I've cut all of AMC and Collider's celebrity interviews, and every time he's on, I just buckle in because it's going to be real awkward.
Yeah, he's insufferable, but he is straight up awesome in everything he's in. Like,
yep.
No Country for Old Men. Like he's phenomenal. He really, really is. I just wish he wasn't such a douche to try to talk to during interviews.
Or whatever. This is not
awesome.
why I got into this industry.
Yep, he's earned the right. He's earned the right. Okay,
Yeah.
what's next?
Next is from Gabrielle Rocha, who said, "Rob, would you freeze your body to live in the future?"
100%.
Oh,
Of course. I'd love
Everybody
to live in
wants
the
to see
future.
All right. Actually,
No
tomorrow's
way.
the future. All right, what's next?
I wouldn't freeze my body to live until tomorrow. I'm a little.
What's
dark.
after you die? It's not like you have to do it while you're alive. So you wouldn't be cold.
I'm done. Mike Joyce says, "Due Date is the modern remake of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles." I really like that movie.
You know what?
see that.
I'm
That
kinda
one is not
thinking
bad.
the same.
Here, a funny thing kind of happened. I was
On the way to the
I was
forum.
I was in San Diego, and I was interviewing Robert Downey Jr. And this was probably a year or two after Due Date came out, and Zach Galifianakis comes sneaking up behind him as I'm interviewing Robert Downey Jr. And Robert Downey Jr. just finished answering a question. Zach Galifianakis goes, "What's it like being a movie star?" And you could sort of see Robert Downey Jr. trying not to roll his eyes because, like, what a stupid question. Well, and he kind of turns and sees Zach Galifianakis stand there. It was great. It was a great moment. And of course, they were reuniting for that. You're right. That is a good little movie. It is kind of a Planes, Trains, spiritual sequel in a way, or a spiritual reboot in a way. That's actually a good observation. All right, what's next?
Benjamin Tam sends in a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, crew. Good afternoon. I am hooked on Yellowstone and bought the 4-season set in 1883 on Blu-ray. I'm still on season 1 and loving it so far.
The show's unbelievable. I mean, I watch it every week, and I think, okay, it was like Andor. I keep waiting for a week episode, and it never comes. It just never comes. They just keep making the characters more interesting. I end every single episode feeling completely satisfied as a viewer. It's fantastic. If you're not on the Yellowstone train yet, you got to get on it. Like a lot of the shows we've talked about, you got to get past the first episode. That's just kind of laying foundation. But after the first 1 or 2 episodes, and you got your head around what this show is, again, to me, it's The Godfather on horses. Oh, God, I love
My
that
friend
show.
Dave Annable plays the brother who, spoiler alert, dies in the first episode. And when we found out that he was going to be on the show, we were like, yay! And he's like, no, it's fine. And we're like, yay, you're on. And he was like, trust me, it's fine. And the show came out. We were like, oh, yeah, that sucks for you.
All right, what's next? Is this our last one?
Yeah.
All right, our last question of the day.
Our last question of the day comes from James Argenta, who says, new Mando trailer before, on, or after December 25th.
Now, they just announced the release date for Mandalorian Season 3. Taylor, can you look that up? What was it, March? March or April? For Mandalorian.
March 1st?
What's that?
I think it's March 1st.
March 1st. Okay, so we're talking about once we get to the end of December, January, February, we're 3 months away. Actually, 2 months away once we get to the end of December. We're less than 3 months away right now before December 25th. I think we're going to get our first spot.
Yeah, I mean, they
December 25th.
dropped the new Bad Batch trailer. Was that today?
Under the category of who cares.
Well, I mean, it's just,
Yes.
it's more Star Wars program. It gotta look good. I was like,
It's funny. I watched the first episode of Bad Batch. I watched the first couple of episodes of Bad Batch, and I was like, I'm surprised. I actually kind of like it. Then it quickly fell off, and I think I tapped out after about episode 4. But it is. But I'm thinking before December 25th, we'll get our first look at Mandalorian. Like first, like full good look at it. All right, guys. That will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget, guys, a little bit later today, around 3 p.m. Los Angeles time, that's 6 p.m. New York time, we've got the latest issue of The Weekly Hero coming to you with Chris Carr and Robert Meyer Burnett. Make sure you guys come back and join us for that. And of course, make sure you come back and join us for tomorrow's episode of the John Campea Show. So, for everybody in the room, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett, Chris Carr, Ray Ora back there, Taylor back there, Jonathan Boyko running the show, and of course, Aaron Cummings joining us with Joey Bishop there looking so energetic and hyped up. So much cocaine that dog does. And of course, my name's John Campea. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.